It's too quick for their own good. There's under 20 seconds remaining.
Yeah, a late pass was given as well, so it's a penalty there for the six-pack team.
There goes the hooter. Charlie Brett switching the ball over to this near side.
They've got a penalty on the line and they're going to run it as well.
Why not, with a couple of final phase of play, and there goes that touch, and that brings an end.
You're never sure what someone's going to do though. Like 7 points down, is it worth trying something funny? And you're like, you know what, we've been running around here for 25 minutes, let's just shake hands and let's call it a day for this one.
Well, a superb victory for the six-pack Roosters against SSC London Eagles, a comprehensive victory at that as well. And we'll now move on to our next game of the day, which will see Buffaloes taking on the German team at Frankfurt. And that'll be next up from Pool C. So do stay with us. We've got plenty more action left to come here in Maidenhead for the European Touch Club Championship. So next up, Buffaloes taking on Frankfurt.
I mean, we showed a bit of. I've never liked that fella, Dan Wines.
Well, here we go. Buffaloes against Frankfurt, our next game here in Maidenhead for the European Touch Club Championships. I tried a couple of guys here from six-pack Roosters who got off to a fantastic start against CSSC London Eagles. A fantastic performance by yourselves. You must be happy with that one.
Yeah, very, very pleased. It's they're a good team. We were a bit worried about the game coming into it, but yeah, the guys did well, ran hard.
And how did you guys prepare for the weekend? How did you feel coming into this one?
To be honest, we didn't do much preparation. It was more, we play on Monday nights down at Performance in Edinburgh. Play there every Monday night for the last 7 or 8 weeks. Against Buffaloes here as well. Here's Louis Burns and Scott, these guys here.
And here come Buffaloes looking to drive on forward.
Nice ball, Louis.
Yeah,
Great ball. Louis was away with the mixed open at the World Cup. Had a great tournament.
and Louis Burns, he normally links up with obviously a player from playing for your side today, Charlie Brett, and of course, and
sadly not together
and,
anymore.
yeah. And linking up nicely, and Buffalo's leading by a score to 0 over Frankfurt, and it must be great to obviously get the chance to play against all these different sides, of course, across Europe, different styles, different ways of playing the game. It must be interesting to pick up different notes from different sides.
Well, absolutely. I mean, we don't really tour too much as a club side. We've got sort of other teams we go with, as Charlie Brett you've mentioned before, plays with Louis, normally with BBR. So it's good to get the club team down here and play against some of the sort of international sides, which is awesome.
And Buffaloes, of course, the side from Scotland, as you quite rightly mentioned. And Frankfurt looking to try and respond straight away. We've seen Frankfurt in action earlier on in the day, and looking to try and force the initiative here. 9 minutes to go in this first start, going for the line.
That was a good dive. Yeah, really good from Buffaloes on the defence there. Frankfurt really testing them out wide.
Yeah, strong defence so far from Buffaloes. Can they hold on once again? Looking to force home the initiative. Nice turn away.
Another great cover from Peter there as well, Pete Chambers. He's ridiculously fast when he gets going, so one to watch.
Yeah, one of those ones he just sort of, once he gets going, he's a bit of like a road runner. Just can't stop. And
good feed on haircut for the weekend, I think.
over the halfway line they come. Buffaloes over the 10-metre mark, making up some good yardage, looking to go to central position. One quick 1-2. Oh, space opening up. Good covering defence from Frankfurt over on that far side.
Yeah, just a bit looping on the long ball, and a bit flatter it might have been in, but good cover from Frankfurt, as you say.
And here they come. Can they try and build something from the back? Just working their way into the weekend. They had a bit of a slow start early on. Just about hold on, don't they? And here they come over the 10-metre mark.
Good touch from Leo there.
Over the 10-metre mark they come here at Frankfurt, but turnover possession. And
Here comes the wee fella, Louis Burns.
always seems to...
There's Stuart Burns, his dad. Louis learned everything from him, as you can see. Here he goes. Great score. Oh, yeah, there we go. Great score.
And going in, and Buffaloes add another one. We've seen that a couple of times actually. RCL touch from Luxembourg. They just sort of unaware of where the line was. Is it quite difficult with the markings on the pitch sometimes to actually see where you are?
It is. You push back so far and you get told off on your own mates. You're like, get back, get back. Unlucky there from Frankfurt though.
And Frankfurt over the 10-metre mark they come. Here come Frankfurt. Can they try and get a foothold back into this? They need the next one. Is Scott Bain looking to go left.
Rooster there.
Back into the middle. Just having to be drawn back. Ebler and Bain linking up now.
There we go. No, he's got him. Good dive. Oh, is he? There we go.
There we go.
Oh, he's done, Louis.
Oh, he hasn't. He's never made the line. Yes, that's superb. That's the next minute he's on.
Tell you, Louis got away with one. We're telling him off for that one.
Yeah, give him a CN2, give him a telling off, and here's Scott Bain now, just
He's going again.
nearly off balance, but trying to get the ball out wide.
Great ball. Oh, he's giving it.
It did look forward for a second.
Oh, he doesn't seem happy.
Just that little smile
That
from
smile
Louis
says
Burns.
something.
Mira Pape on that far side, just clinging on from that.
Not sure. Good score anyway.
It certainly was. Frankfurt back into this, only a 1 point deficit, and now Buffalo's looking to try and restore that 2 point advantage.
Angus Lawson on the ball. Men's open for Scotland. Same with Pete Chambers here.
And Lawson now. And with Chambers in the middle. Oh, good closing down. Good high intense pressure at the moment from Frankfurt in defence at the moment.
Tell you, Pete's got legs like gazelles. Angus for quickie. Close game. So far.
Certainly is. He's going to break first.
Oh,
Just
unlucky.
couldn't grab onto it. See what they were trying to do, Angus Lawson there. Lots of experience as we go through this Buffaloes side. Lots of players representing the Scottish side and going out to Malaysia as well. Over the halfway line they come. Some fresh faces now, a chance to come on.
Yeah, you're saying Angus Lawson was out in Malaysia. He's also with the junior team, so he's still a young player coming along. So he's progressing as he goes.
And over the
This is Scott Bain, is it again, going in for it?
Can they? Scott Bain now letting it
away?
off to Hamilton.
If it was
Weaving
away,
through.
oh, that's superb.
Well, what a response from Frankfurt. After being 2 down, they've got themselves back to 2 apiece, and we've got a bit of a game on our hands at the moment.
We do indeed, and that was just great play from Frankfurt. Just carried on until played the referee. Unfortunately, I think Buffalo's just stopped when they thought something had gone wrong. So
3 minutes remaining over the 10 metre mark. Just slowing things down a tad. Can they work their way through?
there's a dive in.
Oh, going through.
He's another old hand, Callum Sheenan. He's been in the Scotland men's team for quite a few years. He's a good lad. A doctor as well, or certainly training to be a doctor.
Using all this brains to go.
Can't pour a pint to save his life, but he'll be great at surgery, don't worry.
Using all his brains to get through. Buffalo lead by 3 points to 2. 2.5 minutes remaining then until the break, and here come Frankfurt looking to respond straight away in what's been a tight and intense and really exciting match so far. How can they respond?
Yeah, just both teams slowing it down when they get to the line, trying to figure out what they want to do or who they want to pick on. I certainly think they could probably try and speed things up a bit and make it easier for themselves, but they're just getting comfortable with how they're playing.
Nice little layoff and looking to try and go for the line, weave back and
Tried the flare pass out the back, didn't quite work.
Can they link up?
Yeah, those pair of shots are just something else.
They are, they're certainly an eye catcher, aren't they? And looking to come forward over halfway.
Yeah, there again, you've got the father-son combo working again. Some say Stu's actually got more pace than his son.
That's a very true statement.
Minute and a half remaining, over the 10 metre mark they go. Burns, just
Nice score.
just strolls his way through. No one stopping him, and the Buffaloes now lead by 4 points to 2, and they're trying to get themselves into a strong position going into the break.
Oh, see ya.
Easy work into the final minute then. And this game, is it potentially just opening up for the Buffaloes? Over the 10 metre mark they come. Driving forward and looking to try and work their way up towards the goal line, trying to get
Nice.
a score on the board. It's Buffalo's defence holding strong at the moment. Scott Bain laying off to Hamilton, who's been forced back. 30 seconds on the clock remaining.
Just enjoying some touch, you know.
Bain.
Oh, roast.
Can
Here
he?
he goes. He's half. He's half. Oh, it's a shame.
Well, an
goes
opportunity is
Pete.
gone.
Here he goes.
Look at him
Cross.
go.
Oh.
And there we go, brings an end to the first half, and it's the Buffaloes who lead by 4 points to 2 over Frankfurt here in Maidenhead. The European Touch Club Championships 2019 will continue the second half very shortly.
Yeah, the right time for a referee to interchange with his sideline buddy is when they're approximately 15, maybe 20 metres from the sideline, and it's at the right time for the play.
I've got you if they come, Ray. All the way back, Link. Link, no. Yeah, Ray, I've got you here, mate. Back to me, middle, for 8, yes. Shoot is good. Third with me here.
Teamwork comprises of many factors for the referees. A lot of it is communication with the players.
Take it back 2 meters, blue, please. 2 meters back. Thank you. Hold here. Yeah, roll, that's fine. Look for me. First is with me. Here it is. 27, 2 meters. Yes, good there. Look at me for second.
The sideline ref's always communicating with the players.
All the way back to the ref now. 9, 1 step, 9 offside. Look for the ref next touch.
And at the appropriate time, we'll communicate with the on-field referee when a critical decision needs to be assisted.
Have a look at the ref at the next touch again. You're just in front of the line. 12, no. Good, 12. All good here, Jonathan.
The development of referees is quite rigorous. There are 5 levels in the fit level system. The entry level is level 1, level 5 is the highest. So to progress from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, there's a theory exam plus a practical assessment. And when you go from 3 to 4, 4 to 5, that has to be done at an elite tournament, like a nationals tournament or a Euros.
So we are back underway here in Maidenhead, the European Touch Club Championships. Buffaloes taking on Touch Frankfurt. And it's the Buffaloes who get the tap off in the second half. And we just had a quick glance at the table. Oh, look at that dive and going in over the line.
Silly salmon, that's what I was.
It was a bit of a leap of a salmon, wasn't it, towards their line. And Buffaloes get off to the perfect start here in this second half. And just saying that, looking at that table at the break, and Frankfurt in desperate need of the win. Yeah, superb from their Buffaloes, and they get off to the perfect start in this second half. Karen Sheehan going over, and Frankfurt, how do they respond? Need something. 11 minutes obviously still to play in this second, so plenty of time in a sense. But I was saying to a couple of people who've been in the commentary box, and these games just fly by, don't they, compared to other, the Belief Elite National Touch Series where they're 20 minutes a half.
Yeah.
And this is it's almost just one half of one of those games, isn't it?
Yeah, it's mental. Like, it's playing in the 20, you can always get back into it. And we were saying before the tournament started, every point counts, literally. You can easily slop down, and best thing to do is keep in and get the scores in, because it could go the wrong way.
So over the 10-metre mark, Hamilton jinking one way then the next, and looking to go for the line, gets an important touch in. Simeon Helbler looking to go through. Hamilton Hamilton gets it back
Oh
on.
no.
Just a slip at the critical moment. It was Georg Schlossermeister who was trying to get the ball back.
Yeah, you can see he was pretty upset with himself with a shake of his head as he went back.
And halfway they're going. Here's Lewis Burns.
And Stuart Burns as well, the parent-father combo again. Yeah.
Here is Louis Burns. He
Ooh,
gets
that,
it back.
That looked like it was actually hit out the hands, but the referees deemed it's just a loss.
So Frankfurt desperately need to get this next score if they're going to try and get foothold back into this. But as soon as I say it, a bit of a commentator's curse as he drops it right in front of it. And Buffalo's now turn of possession and good chance to attack the line. Burns gets it back, jinks one way then the next.
Oh, they've just done the same themselves. So Louis trying to work on his footwork and just drag the players over and give back to a switch, but unsuccessful there.
An opportunity lost, and here come Frankfurt. Can they try and make amends for that sloppy piece of play earlier? Get some fresh legs on, and here they come. Scott Bain over halfway. Bain gets it back to his man. Gibson.
Just a miscount there though, they didn't realise it's 6 coming. On the sideline, is he? Is that him sitting down?
Over halfway line they come, Buffaloes. And again, another error. I've seen a few errors in this second half that's just stopping any real momentum for both sides.
You'll just be finding the heat that's getting to the Scottish teams here, maybe.
Yeah, said a few of the guys have said it's almost like a mini Malaysia out there today. Don't think it's quite as hot as it was out there, but
not quite as hot, but the humidity, you know, it's just as killer.
And looking to come on forward. And there's Scott Bain again, back into a central position. Eebler now going for the line. Good defensive work. And again, just struggling to cling on.
Maybe find both teams are getting a bit tired now, and there's just small errors creeping in. Just a shame. Pressure from the defence. Yeah. So Frankfurt's doing a really good job of just pressing them, really making Buffaloes try and throw the ball around. And again, as you can see, it's just caused small errors, which just means they're getting back on top again.
So an opportunity for Frankfurt to attack the line. They need to be starting to use these opportunities now. Simple layoff, waits for the touch. Slowing it right down though. Looking for an option, being patient. Going forward now over to that far side. Can they finish it off? No, good defensive work from Buffalo.
Great defence from Buffalo. Matthias Malaguti, longest hair in Scottish touch.
And coming forward now, nice little layoff over the.
Great, keep going. Another error.
Six minutes remaining then until that final hooter goes. Frankfurt, can they just get back into this one? They need to do something now. Pinged at him, just manages to cling on, and as he goes over the 5 metre line, going through a central position, looking to force it out wide. Lovely take.
What a score. Great score from Frankfurt.
Absolutely, and just what they needed. And the pass came out wide, and it was Smith. And they can be quite hard to judge when they're high up. And here come Buffaloes. Can they respond straight away?
Nice. Oh. Takes a lot to get Big Stu down, tell you that.
And towards the 5 metre mark. And here comes Louis Burns looking to come forward. And does he just weave his way through? And Buffalo's back in charge. 4.5 minutes remaining, and that lead extended by 3 once again.
Really nice. Casual from Louis. It's basically how Louis is as a person, a casual player. You could say Mr. Casual, really. Casual.
So on the halfway line they come. Frankfurt have it all to do again to try and respond. Into now they come. Simon Hebler in the middle. He gets it back. Looks like a bit of a mix-up.
Just not quite the length on that pass there at the end, though. It's good to see Frankfurt still pushing hard, although they're a few behind. They're still just putting everything into it, which is really good to see from a team.
3.5 minutes remaining. Can they somehow work their way back into this? They need to hold out from this attack from the Buffaloes. Can they weave their way through, though? Looking towards halfway. Running a sub move to get some fresh faces on for the final couple of minutes.
Yeah, this is looking better from the Buffaloes. They've just got a bit more pace coming on as they go. Again, just couldn't quite connect with that last pass, but a lot better from the Buffaloes actually getting up to the other end of the field with some pace.
Yeah, and both sides as we're getting towards the latter stages of the day, potentially a bit of fatigue and tiredness just sort of kicking in. A lovely take though, manages to just cling on. Still in the Frankfurt half, deep inside is Scott Bain, who comes off from the subs box. Turnover though, 2.5 remaining.
Yeah, just I think a bit of an overstep, although it didn't really have much of a bearing, but the refs have decided it's enough to give them a penalty.
On the 5 metre mark. Just being patient there in the control. They have the score at the moment. And just almost slipping and trying to nudge the ball over the line.
Yeah, I feel Buffaloes are just making things a bit hard for themselves. Instead of trying to really stress the defence and keep the pace up, they're slowing everything down, letting Frankfurt have a chance to defend it. Yeah, and they seem to keep it super tight, and Frankfurt have realised that. But Buffaloes haven't then progressed to try and go for the long, try and really test the wings now. So maybe something for them to think about in the next games if they can.
And still in their own half. Frankfurt, 1.5 minutes remaining. Crossing the halfway line, just trying to force their way up. Over the 10 metre mark they go, looking forward. Needs that support, looks to go inside and just can't cling on.
Just a diving ballerina kind of grab at the ball there, but not quite.
Into the final minute we go. Here's Burns laying it off.
There we go again, Burns and Burns. The old trickster with the youthful speed and footwork.
40 seconds remaining. And Buffalo's looking to add another one. Lewis Burns just toying and dancing with this Frankfurt defence.
Yeah, it's good from Louis, just making up yards all the way. He's given himself plenty of touches now to try and attack on the line.
Reaching the latter stages, and the Buffaloes looking to finish the game off with a plum.
It is the
That's the one we've been waiting for.
Burns and Burns just read each other like a book.
I'm sure they'll want to keep that in the DVD player for a while.
Oh, great finish though as well from Stu Burns, just on the line. Didn't need to go any further, just put it straight down.
And what an end then for the Buffaloes, and they finish by 7 points to 3. Thank you very much, guys, for joining me in the commentary box.
No problem at all. Thank you very much. It's a bit different for us doing something like this. So always interesting, but great to see it on the TV, and great to see our teams from Scotland coming down and playing in these tournaments, as well as all the way from Frankfurt. Yeah.
Absolutely, and you'll be action again on pitch number 1 as at 5 o'clock taking on Berlin. But our next game, we'll see San Roque against Hot Custard against 3:30. That will be from Pool A. But until then, we'll be back in a couple of minutes' time. So we're back underway here in Maidenhead for the European Touch Club Championships 2019. San Roque taking on Hot Custard. And delighted to say I'm joined by Stuart Gibson from Buffaloes. And here we go. San Roque taking on Hot Custard. And got to it was a good win over in the game earlier against Frankfurt. You must be delighted.
Yeah, it was a good one. I was sitting that one off, unfortunately, on the show pitch. But it was, good. Get about 7-3, I think it was. Good result in the end of the day. Letting up at the first half, just a few simple mistakes here and there, but hot conditions, sweaty hands, happens a lot.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a very muggy day, isn't it? It's can be tough, especially after you play a long weekend, isn't it? When you get into the latter stages of a day.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially tomorrow, our legs will be heavy as anything, and you get sweaty and you stay sweaty. Unfortunately, on days like this, it's just hard to get dry.
And here we have San Roque. Our first look at San Roque in from Spain, taking on Hot Custard of England. And
good ball, very good ball.
What a start here for Hot Custard. We've seen them in action a couple of times throughout the day, and they're a tidy side. And just having another look at the replay now on this one. Jamie Ironside flicking it off and looking for Shane Scott. And the ball finds over that far side, and it's a good start.
I think we've got away with that one there.
Yeah, it looked like they slightly did. And just for yourself and the team, how was the preparations, and what were you really looking forward to this weekend here in Maidenhead?
Well, I just like coming these tours with the guys, with the team. It's always a great weekend, great laugh. And so yeah, I mean, preparation-wise, just doing our training twice a week. Got our touch series up in Edinburgh as well. Been playing there, and quite a few of the lads, and myself included, just playing away in Malaysia at the World Cup. So we've had a lot of touch recently. And it's hot today, but it's a lot hotter in Malaysia, I can tell you that.
Yeah, I've heard many stories from the time over in Malaysia. It was just a searing heat, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, 52.5 degrees one of the days we had to play in it, and it was 90% humidity almost the whole time. It was ridiculous. Good fun, but really, really tough.
And here come Hot Custard, and a couple of moments in there, trying to add a second. Chris Arnold getting it back, looking to drive for the line over on this far side, and
wide space
opening up. Alice Somerville, and she got a couple on earlier on in the day, and she's added to a personal tally again. And Hot Custard advancing into a 2-point lead. So how's the day gone then? How's the opening day of this weekend here in Maidenhead gone for yourself?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been great fun. I've had a few scores here and there. Good games, good competition. Teams that we maybe thought would be easier games have been tougher games, and that's always nice to see. Touch is really developing massively, and there's teams that we maybe played a few years ago that we've come back this year almost a completely different side and really, really competitive. So it's nice to see, and it's good to play against. I like to play the highest level we can here, so it's great.
Absolutely, and it's must be quite an occasion when you get the chance to play all these sides from around Europe as well.
Yeah, it's awesome. As you say, they come from all over Europe, and you don't get to play them very often. So when you do get to play them, it's nice to get a change from the same 6-7 teams you get to play in your local touch league. So it's good.
And our first look at San Roque today, and that real first attack we've actually seen from the Spanish side.
Yeah, they've not had much ball.
Over the halfway line they come, Hot Custard, and looking dominant thus far. Nice arcing, jinking run back inside, doing
Big
well.
Space opening up again.
Oops. And Jamie Ironside going through, nicknamed the Iron Jaw. And 7.5 minutes gone, and Hot Custard absolutely dominant thus far. And let's see how San Roque can respond. A few international players, a bit of experience in this Spanish side, but need to use all of it now if they want to try and get back into this one. Being forced back. Perez now in the middle. Oh, looking to go for the line. Have they managed to get it? No, sixth touch. And Ricardo Chirino, nicknamed Chiri, was just trying to get through then. And he's up early, trying to put the pressure on again with Perez. But lovely move through the middle. Good footwork is Chris Arnold.
Two-way backs turned there. Need to keep themselves squared up, facing the attack.
Good yardage made up by Hot Custard.
Well, they're identifying as soon as those backs turn, they'll just go and they'll run right through. So you've got to try and keep yourself squared up and run backwards. Probably the toughest part of the whole game, but it's part of the game, unfortunately.
Yeah, we saw it earlier on in the game. RCL Touch taking on Hot Custard, actually, and RCL just getting caught sort of as soon as the ball was left. They were turning their backs and they were going straight through.
Well, once your back's turned, you can just get burnt on the outside because you have to get onside, then turn around and then make the touch. So turn your back and you've already compromised yourself, a player down for the team, really.
And here come San Roque, and looking to come forward over the 10-metre mark. Can they force home something? Can they try and work it? Jose Delgado with that long pass over to that far side, just couldn't be picked up. Nice little layoff over the 10-metre mark they go. Nice high intensity. Every time Hot Custard look like they come forward, they've sense of purpose and driving forward,
Absolutely,
aren't they?
just nice and direct, straight forward, straight to the middle, and that's how they're getting their spaces on the outside opening up, like that one there again, just caught there. But yeah, force them through the middle, they all squeeze in, and that's when you get the space outside.
And the referee confirms another one. And Shane Scott was in the thick of things. He's such a key player in this Hot Custard side. Of course, involved with London Galaxy as well. Just a simple layoff. And just weaving away through Alice Somerville. And she adds another one. 4 minutes remaining in this first half. And Hot Custard leading by 5 points to 0. Jake Hogan now in the middle position for Hot Custard. He's got a couple early on in the day against RCL Touch. Chris Arnold now laying it off. Here's Chris Arnold. Jones now. Oh, and I think just almost losing where the line was.
Yeah, no, it's hard. The rugby pitch obviously marked out over the touch pitch, and had him a few times myself. Sorry, losing the line. I think that solid line just in front of the 5 is the try line, or even worse, you go past the try line like she has there, thinking the dead ball line is the score line. Unfortunate.
And of course, on this first pitch, it's obviously AstroTurf, and with the rest of the pitches or grass. Is that making a difference coming from those different pitches throughout the day?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the grass pitches out the back are pretty dry and dirty, so they're pretty bad to dive on. They kind of suck. They scratch you up. Yeah. But this AstroTurf, it's okay, but you get that, the black kind of rubbery stuff used for grip, and that gets all in your socks and makes everything a bit uncomfortable. So to be honest, a little shower tonight for the place would probably do us great if we could get that, because it is dry and warm, and it's not lovely to play on. This morning, this first pitch was really, really slippy. Everyone was falling over, slipping about, but I think during the day it's obviously been played on a bit more. It's been broken in a bit, and it's feeling okay. It's nice and soft. It's nice to run on.
And here come San Roque, but they can't get through on this occasion, and just simple mistakes, isn't it, at the moment?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We were the same in our last game. A lot of simple errors costing us a few scores that maybe shouldn't have really been doing. Drop balls, oversteps, all these kind of little pernickety things that are very, very easy to get wrong. But at the same time, if you're playing at this level, you've got to get it right, because you will get punished for it.
And Hot Custard with under 2 minutes remaining. Can they add a 7th to complete what's been a convincing and clinical first half? And, well, weaving their way through again, Sam Jones. And it is the 7th added. And let's have another look at this one. Easy as you like. Do you think that's just maybe fatigue and tiredness maybe kicking in? Or I know, well, this Hot Custard side are a very, very good side and a very clinical side, but is it just maybe a mixture of the both, potentially?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Hot Custard has been direct through the middle, and then doing all that backwards running and defending, it really tires you out. It gets the legs, it gets the lungs going. And at this point, they've got a minute until their break, but they've not had a break right now. They've just been constantly on their heels, and that's always harder, especially when you don't have that kind of energy or motivation. When you're 8 down at this point, you're feeling a bit drained. The fatigue just adds to that, and so you get all these offsides and whatnot.
Is it true that if you're winning a game, you just feel like even if you are so tired, you still feel like you're full of energy?
Oh, hugely, yeah, for sure. Even if you're down 1 or 2 and then you get a score, it really can lift the whole team, and the whole spirit lifts. And as soon as a few people start lifting their spirits, everyone follows, and the energy just kind of finds its way back into your body. Really, it's amazing.
And here come Hot Custard again, and as I said, they were going to try and add an 8th. Are they going to add a 9th? It looks like they are. Jamie Ironside, the iron jaw coming through. And it was very simple in the end, and that goes the hooter. And that brings a close to what has been a clinical and comprehensive first half for Hot Custard, and they go into the break leading by 9 points to 0 over San Roque Touch. We'll be back for the second half of this Pool A game in the European Touch Club Championships 2019 in a couple of moments' time.
Touch is a minimum contact sport where the aim is to score more touchdowns than your opposition. Touch team is made up of 6 players on the pitch with up to 8 substitutions. Those 8 substitutions can roll on the pitch at any time. Touch can be made of mixed teams or single gender teams. In a mixed team, there is a minimum of 1 man and a maximum of 3 men on the pitch at any one time. At an international level, touch games are made up of 2 20-minute halves.
Half time, girls.
But at all levels, you can have varying different half lengths and periods of time.
So as we get the second half underway, we're just going to have a quick word with the coach from RCL, Simon Neal. Chris is with him.
Simon, it's a lovely warm day here today. How are you guys finding it as a competition from Luxembourg?
Yeah, it's pretty tough going for us. We're kind of a new group in Luxembourg. We're around 20 to 25 people in our club. A lot of the players, it's their first year or just second year of playing touch, and for some, they've only played a couple of tournaments before, so playing at this kind of pretty high level with some of the best players in England, Wales, Scotland, and the French teams that are here. It's pretty tough going for us, but we're hanging in there, scoring 1 or 2 tries here and there. Yeah, just doing our best, really.
It's fair to say that your accent isn't native Luxembourgian, and you've also got a Chiefs baseball cap on as well. You guys grow up with the sport down in the Southern Hemisphere in Australia and New Zealand. What do you try to pass on first and foremost to players who are joining you in Luxembourg who are just taking up the sport?
Yeah, it's definitely a big sport in New Zealand where I'm from. I think it's just passing on the involvement of everyone in the team playing mixed touch, that you use the different players to their strength, the ladies as well as the guys. And yeah, just trying to build up some of the skills that we have, because with having kind of a mix of players from all over, they don't have kind of a rugby background. So just kind of the basics in terms of passing, catching, and learning the rules of touch, the basics there, we kind of try and build that up and then go from there into our more technical aspects.
And in terms of how important this is as a competition for you, can you quantify that?
Yeah, it's pretty important. We've kind of gone, since I've been in Luxembourg, which is for 2 Euros now, the last 2 Euros, we kind of really struggled just to get enough players together. And so, yeah, we didn't do so well, but we kind of built up a really hardened competitiveness that the guys that have been there for a while now do really want to improve and have us get some better results. So we kind of got a bit more of a plan now for the next Euros where we're trying to build our player base, and develop a bit more and get that kind of some better teams and take it to that kind of higher level for the next Euros. Yeah.
Simon, well done for growing the sport in Luxembourg. Thanks very much for your time, and good luck for the rest of the weekend. Back up to Brad for the rest of this game between Hot Custard and San Roque.
So here we go, second half is well underway here in Maidenhead, the European Touch Club Championships 2019. Hot Custard taking on San Roque, and Hot Custard, as you can see from the scoreline, are in total command. And I'd like to say again, joined by Stuart Gibson from Buffaloes, who's joining me for this second half as Hot Custard going in just as we are
lovely score.
Back on and into double figures. Indy Angel Ould going over the line, and the 10th of the game for Hot Custard. And we're just having a quick sort of chat off air at the break about your story into touch rugby. I thought it was quite a really fascinating story. And what would you say to sort of people who are thinking maybe getting into touch, or have not, or only or watching this today and wanting to try and get in? What's your advice, and what's the best way of getting involved?
I mean, my first piece of advice is just do it. Go and just turn up. I been a 15s player my whole life, injured my knee pretty badly. That kind of disheartened me a little bit. Couldn't play rugby for a while on crutches and whatnot, and then one of my friends played touch on the side, which I kind of knew about, but I never thought anything major of it because I never really saw touch as a sport in itself. It was kind of a thing you did as a warm-up at 15s, but once you get to know the game and you learn the game, you realise it's completely different, and it's a great, great fun game. And it's so inclusive, you know, any shape, any size, any age, male, female, you've got mixed. It's brilliant. And like the sport itself, for me, is probably only 60% of it. I love it and I really enjoy it, but the whole community, the whole kind of like friends feel around it, you get on with your team really well, and even all the other teams from different nations, you see them once or twice a year max, and yet you're all friends, you're all connected. I got invited to go over to Ireland, go and just play a tournament there. You've got tournaments all over Europe. So it really is awesome, just the amount of kind of friends, the amount of different people you get to meet from different walks of life, all ages getting on together. Yeah, I love it, it's great fun. So I'd say if you're ever thinking about it or you just want to try it, then go along one training session, find your local club and just give it a go.
Well, that's an incredible story, Stuart, and it's certainly such a community sport, and it's great to see so many sides, and the progress of England touch rugby in particular, it's growing and growing and growing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's massive. They've done really well with all the funding they're getting, the publicity, obviously having it streamed on TV and whatnot is incredible. And so if we can keep growing it at this rate, it's going to become massive. It's got huge potential. Over the Australia, New Zealand and whatnot, it is massive over there. They've got NRL backing and all the rest of it. And if we can do the same over here in Europe or the UK, that's just amazing. It'd be really, really good to get more people involved, more athletes in the sport. Because it used to be a kind of oldies sport, and it's just moved on hugely now. It's, you know, professional level sport now. It's amazing.
Yeah, a lot of youngsters. I mean, obviously, including yourself, Stuart, and we've had Sam Missing from Cambridge. We've had Charlie Brett who's been in here as well. It just seems like a lot of youngsters are now coming through and really taking up on the sport.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, you've got, well, Charlie Brett's actually the one who got me involved in touch in the first place. A long-time friend of mine, and yeah, you come into a sport like this and you've got these young guys coming through and really commanding games, really commanding sport at international level at the World Cup, all these things, seeing these young guys take charge and really, you know, really bring this into a kind of professional level, fast sport, which most people that don't know about touch or know touch for what it is, don't really see it as that, because they see it as I said, more of a warm-up game type thing. But really, yeah, it's a rapid game, and it's so tiring. All the backwards running, all the lateral movement. Yeah, it's great.
If you don't believe Stuart, over the course of the weekends, we've seen the Believe Fleet National Touch Series. I've seen on Sunday evenings players who are absolutely shattered after a week in the touch.
Your legs become very, very heavy on the Sunday evening. Very heavy.
I'm sure sore legs on a Monday morning, is it, when you
Oh,
wake up?
hugely, yeah, and a week of cramps as well.
And here come Hot Custard again, trying to. Oh, this is almost just becoming into a. I know you sort of said actually that touch rugby is sometimes seen as a training exercise, and Hot Custard almost feels like they're just going through the motions, aren't they? Yeah,
Absolutely, just keeping to the basics. Nothing special they're doing. They're just running fast, direct, and exploiting the holes that they're making with the tired legs on the other side.
and on the halfway, here can San Roque, and in this position all you can do is really sort of play for pride and try and add as many points to the board, maybe try a few things and get some more experience going forward over the weekend. 4.5 minutes remaining then of this second half. Hot Custard, well, if the game sewn up, this would be one of the I think the greatest comebacks of all time in sport, I think, if San Roque managed to come back from this.
They'd be doing well. They'd be doing well.
And here they come on the outside. Can they try and work something? It'd be nice to see them get a few points on the board. And Hot Custard now deep inside. They have the turnover possession, looking to drive on forward. Here is Sam Jones, and ball spread over from left to right. Jones gets it back again. Here's Angel Old, and over the halfway line they go. Patient build-up from Hot Custard. Back inside to Angus Goff, and Goff gets it over and trying to work their way through. It was Mexkovic who's trying to get over the line. There is Angus Goff. Just a loose pass and turnover in possession on the 3-minute mark. And of course, it's another really busy month of touch rugby. Of course, got this weekend here. The junior championships, of course, in Paris as well.
Yeah.
So plenty of going on, isn't there?
Yeah, there's tons going on, and it's all year round. It's mainly a summer sport, but the training and whatnot happens all year. We've got leagues, local kind of leagues always going on all year round, and we've got the European Championships for men, well, open level in Nottingham again next year. So a lot going on.
Certainly is. It all comes thick and fast. I only felt like yesterday that the start of the Belief Elite National Touch Series is happening in Banbury.
Yeah, exactly. It's crammed into the summer. You get a lot of touch in the summer.
And here we are on the opening day of this fantastic weekend here in Maidenhead, the European Touch Club Championships. Hot Custard looking to add even more points. They just seem so relentless at the moment, but slowing things down a tad. Here they come over halfway. Angus Goff now looking to go out wide, and look at all the time and space to finish off as easy as that. And it was Weir on this near side, and that's another point added to the board. And they lead by 13 points to 1. And here come San Roque. Pushing forward.
Looking much more positive, but just simple mistakes.
Yeah. Just those mistakes, just on those errors on the final couple of phases, just letting the Spanish side down. And the errors in hindsight that could be easily cut out as well.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And here come Hot Custard into the final minute. We'll just wait for that hooter to sound around Maidenhead Rugby Club. Angel all doing well. Here's Hogan. Over the 5-metre mark they go. Still looking for points. Chris Arnold, Angel Old now. Arnold gets it back. Looks to go left, opts to go right. Into the goal scoring zone they've got. Jake Hogan, does he get there in time? No.
Nothing worse than being stuck as half behind that scoreline, not being able to put the ball down.
Yeah, it Must be so frustrating, isn't it, when you
Oh,
feel like
yeah.
you've done all the work and then you're looking for that support.
Especially if you like lose the touch, whatever. The amount of times I've seen people run over that line, put the ball down, and of course it's a turnover because you're not allowed to score it as half.
And there goes the hooter. And Hot Custard's going to add another one. That one was just standing and waiting for it to inevitable to happen, although it doesn't. And that brings a close to a victory for Hot Custard over San Roque. It was a highly convincing victory for the English side over San Roque. And that brings a close. And our next game will be seeing Leopards for the first time here on pitch number 1, taking on Thames Valley Vikings, the Jersey side taking on the English side. And that'll be our next game. And Stuart, thank you very much for joining me in the commentary box.
No, not at all. Thank you for having me.
Absolute pleasure. And we'll move on to our next game then, which will be Leopards taking on Thames Valley Vikings here at the European Touch Club Championships 2019. Well, these games are coming quick and fast, and already a score in our next game here in Maidenhead, the European Touch Club Championships 2019. And what a start that was for Leopards taking on Thames Valley Vikings here on pitch number 1, the 4 o'clock kickoff game. Leopards getting off to an absolute flyer. Our first look at them here on pitch number 1. And Thames Valley Vikings respond straight away. 1 apiece after the opening minute. What a fantastic start to this game. Plenty of youngsters in this Leopards side. Cole Graham, Dylan Stocks and PJ Dodge, all 15 years of age. So plenty of youth in this Leopard side from Jersey. Nick Kearns now. '19 international caps for Nick Kearns. He gets it back, looking to go right, but opts not to. PJ Dodge was just to the right of him. Here is Kearns looking to go left and doesn't in the end, and Thames Valley Vikings stop any attack from happening. So Thames Valley Vikings, plenty of experience in this side, of course. Including the man with the ball at the moment, Josh Henderson, the England boys under 18s link, and he will be going to the Junior Cup Championships in Paris later on this month. Lauren Lowe making that arcing run over the 10-metre mark, just stopped in her tracks. And looking to try and go for that, looking for that support, needing that support, waiting for it. Oh, and do they get it in the nick of time? No, referee not calling it. And I'm delighted to say, once again, joining me in the commentary box, Greg Cropper for this one. Our first look at Leopards and then Thames Valley Vikings as well, making a run out on pitch number 1.
Yeah, it's unfortunate there. The attacker thought he'd scored there. He's thrown the ball back to halfway, but unfortunately, the score was not given. They did get a penalty though for holding behind the line there, so Leopards have got another set of 6 on the Thames Valley line. Let's see if they can capitalise on this.
Yeah, let's see how they do this one. Thames Valley Vikings defending combo. Oh, very strong, powerful nudge forward, and the ball's flicked over to that far side. Can they get through? Emily Hart on that far side.
He's given a forward pass there as a referee, unfortunately.
Here is Josh Henderson now, men's under 18s link player, and laying it off over the 10-metre mark. A lovely bursting run through the middle. There is Henderson again. Nice pickup by Scott. The turnover possession, and Leopards now will start again inside their own half. Making that arcing run again. Here they come.
No touches played in the middle there. He's got it. Referee's called it. Jay in the middle there, waiting for the ball to take his penalty. That is one of the frustrations of this game sometimes, that kind of clever touch, no touch, pull out of a touch, and gaining a penalty.
And
He's gone long off the first. Probably not a good attacking option there from the coach in the sideline. Will probably be having a word with him for throwing long off touch 1 and it going to ground when they had a good opportunity there. But let's see what they've got now coming out of off their line, the Jersey team.
And here they come. Lots of youthfulness in this side, of course, and trying to use that to full advantage. And Goddard now laying it off to Matunzi. Matunzi laying it back off to Kearns. Kearns trying to weave his way through.
6 touch.
Neil Hook laying it off. Henderson now.
Charlie Newton just having to take it back. Johnson.
Good yardage made up. Back into the middle. Oh, lovely. Oh, that was absolutely clinical, quick, incisive play from Thames Valley Vikings. And in a flash from one end of the pitch to the other, from one side to the next, they are back in front, and that was well worked.
It was very well worked. Was the link was just running a really good passive line behind that player that chopped the hole in the middle. left the winger free.
Yeah, Tom Simpson doing really well in that link position, number 54 for Thames Valley Vikings. And here comes PJ Dodge. He gets it back. Sidestepping to the left. Sweeping it from a right to left. Looking for that angle, looking for that opening. Jacob Vautier, the number 14 for the Leopards. Simpson now involved in that latest score for Thames Valley Vikings. Acceleration just bursting up the pitch and driving his team on. It's such a useful asset. Oh, and just working his way through. Oh, a vital touch.
Caught as half though as number 19, so jersey was let off the hook there with the Leopards. Just a touch on his long hair there. Had to take it back.
That's halfway line to go. Some more energy onto the pitch. Lauren Lowe. Nick Kearns now. Dancing feet forward. Kearns gets it back. Zunzi's there, but opts to go straight to that far side. Oh, it looked like for a minute she had it. And then just like a bar of soap, just slipped out of her grasp. But a chance for Leopards though still.
Referee must have seen something here, so looks like a penalty in the middle for the Leopards. Got 6 to go on the Thames Valley line. See if they can find something out of this. Came sliding in, did that touch.
Yeah. Just grabbed onto him, trying to stop him from going anywhere. Matunzi looking to get it back, and he was almost too quick for his own good, trying to read the play.
Yeah, unfortunate that for those guys. Again, I think it's something that we spoke about earlier, but in that terms of they seem to be rushing it when they've got to the line. They needed a bit of patience, get the players in the right positions to execute that move. They just seem to be trying to rush, and they don't have that patience that the Vikings seem to have. They've got the players in the right positions. They might lose a touch by doing so, but they can definitely utilise it once done. So that long pass out of the back again to Simpson, to the winger. Referee seems happy with it.
Just waiting for that. I think it is, yeah. Well, the number 8, it was Dylan Stocks for Leopards. Looked like he just got caught in the face.
Yeah, I think the ball had gone, everything was fine. It was just an unfortunate follow through there from Simpson that may have just hit him on the way past. But only a fraction of a second late to make the touch was the Leopard there. Unfortunate, but again, they've run that same move twice and executed it twice, so hopefully you'd expect that it won't happen again, and then they'll have to go to plan B, will Thames Valley, to score next time. Oh, has he got it?
Oh, he manages just to cling on, does he?
The touch just came in from the winger. He couldn't spin around and pass it out, but he's not got back up. It looks like there's an injury there. As we watch this, the replay, just couldn't pass it away there. He was a bit greedy. I think he probably could. I think he had the chances to pass that one, so I think his teammate won't be happy with his decision, but he's up.
Yeah, Jacob Vautier just limping away gingerly a bit, and he turn over possession now for the Thames Valley Vikings on their own line. Oh no, sorry, I apologise for Leopards. Looking to go left and right, going for the line. This time around we do see that turnover possession in favour of the Vikings, with 20 seconds to go until the half-time interval, although there is the hooter. And that brings a close to the end of this first half, with the Thames Valley Vikings leading by 3 points to 1 over the Leopards. It's been a tight and tense affair. The Vikings have had a more clinical edge to their game. And Thames Valley Vikings in control at the moment, Greg, at the break against Leopards.
Yeah, I think it's been a bit of a tussle for both teams. Again, it's that intensity and the drive that the Vikings seems to have that has got them every time. I think if they've scored or not, they've got from one side of the field and left the ball on the opposition line, which is, you know, scoring or not, the opposition's got then full length of the pitch to get back. They've also had a bit more of that clinical decision making on the scoreline. They've got the players in their right positions as well. So I think the scoreline is probably, you know, they've done a better job in this first half. So hopefully Leopards can keep in this second half with team talk to see how they come back fighting.
Well, there's a lot of young players in this Leopards side. 3 15-year-olds actually: Cole Graham, Dylan Stocks, and PJ Dodge. And it'll be interesting to see how they come up at half time and see what they say. And I believe we're going to have an interview with one of the players who's been taking part today here in Maidenhead, and we'll go down to Chris, who is pitch side.
Thanks, Brad. I'm joined by Gethin Cry, who's the captain of San Roque, who've come all the way from Spain, although he's got the least Spanish accent, Spanish-sounding accent I can ever imagine. Gethin, just talk through how your day's gone so far.
Yeah, we started off very well. We had a game against the team from Luxembourg, and it was a good victory for us. And since then, we played some teams of high level, high standard, bareback riders, really decent side. A really competitive game against the French team, the Hurricanes. And then a bit of a drubbing in the last game here on the main pitch against a really, really good clinical side in Hot Custard. We've got one more game to go against a team from Holland, and we're hopeful to looking to win that game and then set us up for a good day tomorrow.
Obviously tomorrow, you know, everybody's tiered into the rankings that you get from today, but so what do you take from those games against the likes of BBR and Hot Custard?
Well, I'll be honest, like the BBR game we started off very well, and we were, I mean, even though it was a good victory for them, and we were quite happy with some of the phases of play in the last game. I mean, sometimes you can lose and lose by a lot, but take away a few things from the game, and other times it's just better to forget about the result and look forward to the next one. And that's probably what we'll do with the last game there. Good side, and I expect to see them probably go quite far, and we're just hopeful to do well tomorrow and in our category. Just
in terms of how the players and the team have adapted to the tournament. I mean, when did you guys fly over?
Some of us flew over during the week and have done some like tourism in London and whatnot in the local area, and others flew over yesterday.
In terms of how much this tournament then means, not obviously just to the club, but to touch in Spain as a whole, and you know, a year on from the 2018 massive European Championships, and then the next one next year is going to be even bigger.
Yeah, exactly. So it's great. It's great. We've got two teams from Spain here. We've got a team from Barcelona, a team from Valencia, and also we're looking forward because we got November. We've got the mainland game where teams from all over Europe are going to come over to Elche in Spain, the south of Spain, in November for a good tournament.
In terms of the rest of the weekend, then, I mean, you've touched on it already in terms of to go well tomorrow. I mean, are you ultimately aiming to take home some trophies tomorrow, or is it more about, as I say, a learning process? Yeah, I think we've got some players who are very experienced. We've got some players who are playing, and maybe have only played in a few tournaments, and it's just really useful for us to have teams. We can see you take away a lot of things from this tournament to take home, take back to Valencia. Progress, and also looking forward to not just for the Spanish team, for the San Roque team, the local team, but also as a Spanish national side, because a lot of the guys who are in the Spanish national side are playing for Barcelona, playing for Valencia, and it's just really good for Spanish touch just to be a part of these tournaments and try and get moving on. And just a quick word about Jen Lee. Take off the Spain hat for a second and put on the England hat. Just a word for Jen Lee, who was with the women's 27s winning a bronze medal at the World Cup with England. You know, the amount of miles she puts in to and fro for training, and then obviously representing both club and also multiple sports and and everything else. You know, it's just an incredible lady. Yeah, no, she's great. She's a hell of a player. She's really helps out as well, like with with just bringing in
tips with bringing ideas and just positional sense and how to play the game, basically. With her alongside Jose, Raquel and Kikon. They've been the guys who are really pushing on touch, especially in Valencia, and also within Spain as well. And so, yeah, we're really proud of her, and she's had a great year, and yeah, fantastic result for her in Malaysia.
Gethin, thanks very much for your time, and good luck for the rest of the weekend.
Thanks very much. Okay, cheers.
So here we go, well into the second half here as the Leopards take on Thames Valley Vikings, and you would have seen that score from Henderson in the opening minute or two in this second half, just really putting daylight between the Vikings and the Leopards, and the team from Jersey looking to try and get this next score to bring it back. And another slip, we've seen it a couple of times actually on this pitch, a few players slipping and sliding.
I think it's just getting the right footwear for the people that have got the right footwear. You can see them stepping with no issues at all, and I think those ones that have either gone for a trainer or some kind of trail shoe are just missing that little bit of grip, aren't they? They all stopped there because they thought there was a fumble. Even the attackers thought there was a fumble there, so I think they've got away with that one quite luckily of a Thames Valley team.
Yeah, I think it was Henderson who just looked around a bit sheepishly, and they've carried on. Here's Simpson now picking up over the 5 metre mark and looking to go through himself, looking for that support, and it just looped the ball over and couldn't find his teammate in the nick of time. 8 and a bit minutes to go then in this second half. Leopards need to get this next score. So on the 10 metre mark, can the Thames Valley Vikings really put this game to bed?
8 minutes to go. The Leopards have still got plenty of opportunities to come back, but they definitely need to keep them out here and get the next score, I think, or else it's going to be a bit of a... That's an unfortunate penalty there. Unlucky that the Vikings just didn't get the advantage to score that one, but they've come back for a penalty, so they've got 6 to go on the line. Leopards definitely need to keep this one out. Same move again, but I think the ball was down there. She's played the advantage there as the referee. The right decision. Johnson there just dotting down in the middle to put 4 ahead now from the Leopards.
Yeah, the men's 30s assistant coach goes through, and that gap is widening, and they lead by 5 points to 1 now with 7 minutes remaining, and you can almost say that potentially is curtains for Leopards. And we've said it a couple of times, players have actually said it a couple of times, that compared to the Belief Elite National Touch Series, where those games are 20-minute halves, these games just, you all look at 1 minute, it's 11 minutes to go, and then it's 2 minutes, it just fly by.
It is a different technical, mental way to play as well. You know, you've got to go hard out for a little bit. You know, less time in general, but you're playing the same amount of games or the same number of minutes over the day in comparison to the Elite Series that we've been seeing here over the English summer. So again, I think it's that analogy between the Test matches and the 2020 kind of thing, isn't it? You know, it's a same game but different tactics of the different teams. That, you know, you don't have as long a team talk at half time. Oh, that was a nifty inside ball there. The ball was down. That no-look pass out of the back of the hands. It'd look stupid if the other player wasn't on the same wavelength there, but luckily, steps, cuts, he's given that. That's beautiful.
Well,
good bit of flair there, wasn't it?
About to say, it's one of the most skillful tries we've seen all day, and Vusa Matunzi, 26-year-old, just going through on the line, and he picked it up. He was almost just surprised. It sort of just fell into his hands, didn't it, almost, and went down and claimed it. And just like that, Thames Valley Vikings, after all that fantastic work from Leopards, they just go up the other end and get that 4-point gap once again.
Yeah, we were saying that they needed to be the next scorer, which they were, but unfortunately they forgot to defend it out at the other end. Henderson just touching down in the middle there.
Yeah, Louise Cart involved, and there was Jay Johnson, and then coming in was Henderson, sort of out of your picture, and he just sort of steamrolled his way through the middle and got involved. And now Leopards looking to go again. Lauren Lowe now.
Big touch there from the middle. They play the advantage to see. Wonder if they come back for that penalty in the middle. No, they didn't. The referee must have thought that one was okay. Oh, there's another bit of footwork. It seems like that's one of the players of the day, that, isn't it? A couple of those passes been thrown around now. They're just playing with a bit of flair and having some fun of the Leopards.
It's almost like if the simple thing's not going for you, why don't you just try the most extravagant? And then nearly came off again. It was very close to doing so. Here's Henderson. Just lost the control actually there as he planted the ball down. So a turnover now for Leopards. And just like that, when you look back at the scoreboard and 4 minutes remaining, he just does absolutely tick by these games. And into the middle now, here's Joel Dudley and laying it off to Lauren Lowe. Dudley is there behind her looking for that support. Dudley gets it and pings the ball out to wide, and it can't be picked up. Camacho, the 23-year-old, just struggling to pick up that high pass.
Yeah, I think he's just passed it a little bit early. I think he probably had a little bit longer to run with that. I think he could have broken the line a little bit more, give himself that more time. But again, I think it's a bit of that patience that we were saying about earlier, Brad, that they're lacking in terms of that. Some of it's comes with a bit of experience, and like you're saying, there's a lot of young players in this team as well, so they're building and growing as they go.
Lucy Neil Hook, a important player in this Thames Valley Vikings. She played a good role in the Relief Elite National Touch Series for the Vikings as well. Oh, just slipped, and for a minute it looked like potentially a very nasty injury, but he's back up, and it was a bit of a wincer.
I thought exactly the same. I thought a knee or an ankle had gone then, but he bounced back up.
Thankfully for everyone, he's okay. And here come the Vikings again. There was that man, Christian Scott.
Playing in the Junior Touch Championships in a couple of weeks, Will Scott in Paris for the England team. So it's third time lucky. Again, that goes back to that patience that we were talking about again, doesn't it? They've tried it a couple of times and then they've run it a different option. Steps outside him, dives, big hole in the middle. And even a fancy flick back to halfway.
Well, as you said, Greg, yeah, he's heading off to the Junior Touch Championships in Paris, and I think a lot of people are tipping him to be a bit of a star for the future.
Yeah, very good. It's one of those that, you can get these players playing at this high level from a young age. I think he's following in his older brother Alex's footsteps. Alex Scott was played in the first Junior Championships back in Swansea when it was only mixed at that time. Alex, his brother, was the captain in that team as well. Still involved in the setup now. He was over there in Malaysia with the men's open team as the manager. So still heavily involved as a family. Just a bit of confusion there. Forward pass. I think he was looking for everyone being offside. He'd run 20 metres and still expecting them to be offside. It was Johnson.
Especially with the conditions as they are, doing those lung-bursting runs. It takes you out of him, but he's back in the thick of it here. Jay Johnson, now is his Henderson. Matthew Halligan was there as well. Here is Johnson. Oh, lovely pass to Halligan, and he goes in for the line and beats the floor, and he's happy with that one. 30 seconds remaining, and the Vikings finishing in style.
Still needed to finish it though, didn't he? It wasn't an easy one, wasn't a walk-in. Yeah, they've definitely pulled away here in the second half. 6 points to the good.
10 seconds remaining there. No, we'll wait until that hooter, of course. There is the hooter. Final bit of play. And there is the touch. And that brings an end then, as the Thames Valley Vikings, in the end, run out comfortable winners against Leopards. And overall in that second half, I think worthy winners.
Very much so. They were very much more clinical on the line. They had that patience, and I think just a bit more of experience, which which showed. But yeah, very good game. They were competitive with the Jersey Leopards. They should be proud of that performance.
And we'll move on to our next game. Only 3 now remaining of the opening day here in Maidenhead. Our next game will see the Irish team Donnybrook taking on Cambridge, and that'll be coming from Pool C. So that's our next game here in Maidenhead for the European Touch Club Championships. Greg, thank you very much again for joining me in the commentary box.
Always a pleasure, Brad.
And we'll see you in a couple of moments' time. And the action just keeps on coming here in Maidenhead. The European Touch Club Championships 2019, live here on the England Touch Rugby YouTube and BBC Sport Online. Once again, joined by myself, Bradley Hope, and Greg Cropper for this one, as we see Donnybrook taking on Cambridge. We've seen both of these sides in action if you've joined us throughout the day. And this one actually is a game I've been highly looking forward to. Donnybrook looked very, very good earlier on, and Cambridge, of course, we know very well from the Belief Elite National Touch Series. So this is a game which should be a fascinating matchup.
Definitely, they're both very expansive teams, both very fast in terms of the footwork and the skill set. Both of these teams got a lot of international players in either side as well. So yeah, I think it'll be a very good tussle with this one. Hard to call early doors.
Absolutely, both of these sides in Pool C, if you are looking up the groups. And here is Donnybrook's first attack, and looking to try and get through and go for the line. John Ennis going in. There's a bit of consultation going on, but the score will be given, and the Curran Island men's open vice captain gets on the score for himself and Donnybrook inside the opening minute and a half. And we had John Ennis up in the commentary box earlier on in the day. He was very much looking forward to this weekend, testing himself against all the English sides and, of course, from the teams around Europe as well. And this was a game he had earmarked as a potential humdinger. So I would recommend not to go anywhere for the next 24 minutes. And here they come. Sandlin.
He's gone long. Oh, plenty of time there for the winger to catch that one. Happy with the pass. So yeah, Cambridge one ahead in the first couple of minutes here. Fakes one way, goes long early. That's a good long ball there. The link shuts him down, but it was a bit too late, unfortunately, for the Irish team. Well, let's see they come back now. Stephen Troy taps off.
It was Vicky Franks who went over the line for Cambridge. So 9 minutes still left to play. Here we go. Donnybrook's coming forward again.
Oh, they've got Kat Daniels offside there. She was in all sorts of trouble.
And have another look at the replay of this. It was well worked again. Rebecca Phelan going over the line for Donnybrook, one of the founding members of the club, 10 mixed open caps. And if you say is the heartbeat of this Donnybrook side, and here come Cambridge looking to respond straight away. Vicky Franks, current England Women's 27s player. Nikki Ferns now opts to go right. Sandland looking to burst to his right, but has to cut back into his left into a more central position, looking to go out wide, finds Slater, but Slater can't control on the edge of the Donnybrook goal line, and the Irish defend that one.
Both teams coming into this with 3 wins under their belt already. Donnybrook just ahead on the points with scoring 32 in their first 3 games, with only 8 against them. Just got on the outside of Slater there. Just caught them out on the wing there, Vicky Franks.
They do look like a well-oiled machine.
Very much so. I think they're very this Cambridge team, they train together very regularly. They've got a very good coach in Ben Powell, pulling the strings from the sidelines and on the field. Number 16 there,
and here is
setting
that
a
man.
platform for missing. Unfortunately, just the wrong lines ran there by Kat Daniels, Kat Jones as she is now. It's their wedding anniversary soon, I think, for the Joneses.
All family affair then.
It is indeed. Another one. Oh, I thought it was Matt Maynard was there like a salmon leaping for that one. He came out of our shot just to be...
He came out of nowhere. He just appeared, like just jumping through the air, looking to retrieve that ball. He got 4 in one game earlier on in the day, and he was looking to try and add another one to his personal tally. But here come Donnybrook, and through the middle, number 4, James O'Donnell in the thick of things there in your picture. Ben O'Connell. Here is O'Connell. Oh, gets it. Oh, lovely from Donnybrook, and Cambridge. I'm not too sure what's just hit them there.
No, there's a lot of people looking. Is it me or is it you? I'm not really sure what happened then. Steps back in. It both goes on the same player there. I think Daniel's looking back over to her medals, thinking, was that my fault? Was that your fault? I think she's right. It wasn't probably hers. But it was just a good attack. Sometimes you can't do anything about it. With all of the policies that you've got in place for your defensive set, if a team sometimes step you the right way, then there's very little you can do.
Nikki Ferns now. Does he find the gap? He goes through it. Jones now laying it off. Ollie Maynard. Oh, strong, aggressive touch there.
Yeah, which is it already stopped. There's no advantage to be made. There was no concerns there. That was a silly mistake, I think, from the Donnybrook player there.
There's Ben O'Connell coming in. It was, a bit needless, really. Jones now, Nicky Ferns. Slater is there. No, it is Slater. With Glenn Jones now in the middle.
There's something coming here on the, I think that was probably 4th or 5th, so that was the opportunity. That was the set platform they needed, but unfortunately it didn't come off there for the Cambridge team. So as Donnybrook drive back towards their box to get some fresh legs on.
It's so impressive. As soon as they get going inside their own half, the pace and intensity, and they're a very direct side, aren't they, Donnybrook?
Yeah, and if you see that they're quite you know, samey in the fact that they go into the box every time. It's very rare that they've double setted or they've done anything other than go into the box. So hopefully this Cambridge team should see that and be able to shut it down earlier. They are making a lot of yards just by going to the subs box, which they're not don't seem to have stopped yet. And he's down in the middle again. The coach there, John Ennis.
Well, that was electric from Donnybrook, and John Ennis finishing off. I say, yeah, the player coach, the current Ireland, I should say, sorry, men's Open vice captain. And what can Cambridge come up with now? Here's Cat Jones.
I think that was just a clumsy touch. I'm not sure there's going to be a penalty or anything. It's just going to be a roll ball. It was a bit clumsy, but nothing coming out of that one. We need to set something up on this one now.
Maynard. Then Powell. Again, very aggressive, isn't it? These touch from Donnybrook, and it's really isn't necessary, really. Oh, and a bit of frustration now creeping in.
Yeah, you can see that from both teams, can't you? You can see there's going to be some big touches here in a second, which is going to be frustrating for the referees to keep on top of. Hopefully people see there again, another little push there from Maynard. I think it's one of those that either needs to be a penalty or just a word in the ears of the captains to, oh, this is just exactly what's happening. Yeah, it is happening from both teams. It is the right thing to do, just to have a word to keep that discipline from both teams. Only a couple minutes to go in this first half. It is getting a bit fractious, as you were saying, Brad. You can see it just creeping in a little bit into the game there.
You like to see intensity, but you don't want it spilling over.
Exactly, yeah. And I think that was the right thing to do there by Bonwin-Wake, to have a quick word with both captains to stop that happening anymore. Hopefully that's the last we'll see of that. A late pass there. So tap from Cambridge, penalty. Minute and a half to go, so I think to keep in this game they need to drive up. Oh, just another error there.
It's very unlike this Cambridge side. They made quite a few errors in this game. I don't know if that's the intensity in which Donnybrook are playing at, and as soon as I say that, here's another one.
A technical error again, just not on the mark where they started that off, so a reprieve there for Cambridge. They need to get up that side. If they can score before halfway, that's definitely what is required now. Got some really good intensity there. I think he's gone too early. He went one set too early there, I think. Again, just throwing the ball. We just don't need that kind of stuff. 10 metres away that they're making for nothing here. Unfortunate that this is, again, it's happening again. Another conversation with these two teams. The next person's going to go to the bin, I think. I think they've been warned.
Yeah, it is slightly getting out of control a bit. That was it was Sam Missing and John Ennis who were just having, I think it was a bit of a coming together on the edge of the goal line, and I think the break might just do for both sides actually, just to calm things down a tad.
Coming at the right time, only less than 10 seconds to go, and there is the hooter for half time, so hopefully it will calm down. They've had a conversation twice. I think the next one will go to the bin without any more further discussion. So you can see Ben Powell there trying to get his team together with Cat Jones, likely to go and having a word with the referees, maybe just to give their viewpoint across to them.
So at the break, in what has been a fiery and intense game. So half-time, yeah, in this very intense and fiery game. Donnybrook leading by 4 points to 1. If you were Cambridge, and it's been a fractious game, as we've just said, and you're 3 points down, what would be the message to this Cambridge side?
I think it is that keeping the composure. If you can keep your composure and be that kind of, in inverted commas, better, bigger man, then that's the way to forward. I think you can see Cat Jones going over to have a conversation with them, so we'll see. Fingers crossed.
And we are going to go to another interview down by pitch side, and we've got another player who's been involved over the day. And Chris is pitch side.
I'm joined by Diogo from Agraria, so I apologise for the pronunciation on that one. We saw you on the main field earlier on in the day. How's the rest of your day gone so far?
So far, so good. We are enjoying a lot. We are learning a lot as well. We are a developing club. We are developing our touch team, and we are here to understand where we are at this moment, and we are really happy. It is a great day for playing touch. The organization fantastic. Everything going really, really well. Thank you.
Well, have a quick look back at a year ago when you were in Nottingham with the Portuguese men's 40s team. How was that tournament for you as an individual and for the team as a whole?
It was a huge step for us. Since then we developed a lot in Portugal touch rugby. We are now with 20 teams in the champion Portuguese league, and it's raising a lot. Peter Walters were with us last week in Portugal. He loves the Portuguese, he loves our food, our people. It was fantastic. Hopefully we have England in the near future in Portugal, probably in October in our European Masters, with not only England but all these countries with your fantastic people.
Peter Walters, for people who are watching who don't know who he is, he's the founder of the Galaxy Worldwide Network and commonly known as Mr. Touch, basically, from New Zealand, a very, very experienced player. What does he bring? Because obviously he's used to working at a very high level, but what does he give to a team that's with, say, more inexperienced players?
He understands that we are humble, we are guys who want to learn. So in the near future you will look for us, because Portugal will be, with our size, we'll have good teams, lots of nice people and people who like to play touch rugby, and hopefully you'll see more teams in the next Nottingham European Championship next year. We'll have more teams. The last 2 years we have only M40. In the future we hopefully bring 4 teams to the European Championship in Nottingham.
And finally, one of the things that was said to me earlier on is that it was from another team that played you in June and has played you again today, and has commented on how much you guys have improved over the summer and how much you're learning. I mean, must be credit to the attitude that the inexperienced players in your team have.
Yes, we have a mixed team with older guys, former rugby players, and lots of young people now. We are learning a lot. It's quite our champion. We won the Portuguese Mixed Open Championship. We are not so many teams, so we need a lot to be here in these countries to understand what is the real state of the sport.
Diogo, thank you very much for your time.
So much.
Enjoy the rest of the weekend, and hopefully we'll see you on field one again tomorrow.
Hopefully tomorrow. Thank you.
Excellent. So Brad, back up to you for the rest of this game between Cambridge and Donnybrook.
So we are underway in this second half. Our third to last game of the opening day here in Maidenhead, and what's been a fiery contest between Donnybrook of Ireland and Cambridge of England, and we've had no scores so far in the second half. And we were talking off Greg, probably the importance of this next score going into the final 10 minutes.
Yeah, Cambridge are on their line now. They hope they can run some set kind of play. The couples touch in the middle there. Glenn and Kat Jones. He's had to go long because I think it was the last touch anyway. They didn't get the setup they needed. So they've come out of that with no score, and they had a good opportunity. I don't think they capitalised on at all, unfortunately. So big hit in the middle there. Again, they've gone to the box. They're just not shutting it down early enough, Brad. They've gone to the box every time, and they're letting them then get there and get out of the box, making a lot of yards and getting fresh legs on. They need to be closing this down a little bit earlier to the Cambridge team. 5th touch, there's a lot to do here, so I don't think there's much threat on this one. Oh, you say that, and he's just windmill his way around, and then they've dropped it over the line. Oh.
Well, what an unbelievable passage of play that was.
You could have not written that one. He ghosted through a hole that wasn't there, did Stephen Troy. Passed it to the winger that I'm not sure we should not expecting it, or I'm not sure what happened, and they just dropped it with no pressure or anything. So they were let off the hook with the Cambridge team there.
Absolutely. Can they capitalise? Here's Nicky Ferns with Sam missing again. Some really hard and forceful touches again. Now we're going to see it just boil over again. Hope not. Here's Sam missing. Little hop, skip and a jump again. Here's Matty Maynard going through. Oh, look at that.
It's given it. Score's given, I think. You could see that the way that he was clapping in his face there. I'm not sure that's the right thing to be doing. Again, that a little bit of that is an inexperience and the youngster. But again, that's only come from the first half of that battle in the first half. So fingers crossed it stays a bit more disciplined in this second half now. But Cambridge definitely did need that first score, which they got. So I think the game is back on now. They need to keep them out here to keep in the game, do Cambridge.
And that will hurt Donnybrook after having the opportunity to extend that lead, and then Cambridge go up the other end and get a point themselves. So 2 points in it. We're heading into a fascinating final 7 minutes. But can Donnybrook go in?
They do. Ball is down there.
And here's Sam missing into the middle. Matty Maynard, Sam missing, and Maynard linking up again. Missing.
Another big hit.
Again.
I thought they were going to come back for the penalty. Missing was also expecting it as well. There are some big hits coming here. This won't be an easy one.
Sam missing.
It's gone long. But there's just no one there. Unfortunately for the Cambridge team, I think it's going to run away with them shortly. They've definitely got to keep them down here, stop them getting to the box, stop them making so many yards, put a bit more pressure on them.
Here come Donnybrook over the halfway line.
That's exactly what they needed.
So opportunity here for Cambridge, 6 minutes to go. Samuel missing, just creeping forward. Touch comes in over on the 10-metre mark. Ben Powell. Matty Maynard in the middle. Touch again.
Need to set a platform here.
Huge opportunity to pounce now. Missing. Going in. Oh.
Unfortunate technical error. He's given hips not parallel to the sidelines there, which is an unfortunate one. Again, it's a difficult one to spot sometimes. Possibly a little bit of a harsh call there. They won't be of. Again, another opportunity missed there from the Cambridge team.
There is that man.
I think that was a ball down. He's just too upright there.
Sense of purpose every time John Ennis gets onto the ball, isn't he?
He does, you're right. Very much so. Good diving touch there, just catching the feet of Matty Maynard.
Ferns, and now with Sandler with Maynard now. Another strong touch. Maynard going again. Another big touch again.
I've got to give that one. Yeah. Again, I think someone's got to go to the bin here. Penalty, but think someone has got to be sent off. We can't continue that. I don't think it's ever going to change. We've spoke about it. They've all had warnings about it. And it's still happening. I'm surprised that there's nobody gone to the bin for that.
Here comes Ollie Maynard in the middle with Ben Powell, and of all the players, I think it's Powell who can really sort of calm things down and control this. Here is Powell looking to go out wide, some space opening up potentially back inside. Touch on Ollie Maynard, and again Mark Phelan.
That was 6 turned over. There's no rush to play the ball now. The Donnybrook team, they're looking to slow it down a little bit. They obviously know how long's left on the clock. That's better from the Cambridge team, shutting this box down a little bit earlier. It's something we've spoken about, to stop this transition, to close it down earlier.
Over halfway over the 10-metre mark, really good yardage made up. Can they use that final touch?
A late pass there on the 5th touch, but there was 20-30 metres out by the time they'd made that last break, so that was much better defence, shutting down the substitution options from the Cambridge team. Makes a massive difference from where they're starting on the field for the next set. This is probably 4th and a strike to come, and they didn't use it. The ball is down.
Well,
Donnybrook just caught napping there. I think they were expecting another phase to come off the back of it, but they just played the phase that was live. Just made the link and the wing to decide what they were going to do. Probably a lack of communication there from the Donnybrook team. 2 girls there out on the wing and the link channels. And he walks in, so 2 in it, 2 minutes to go, still doable. I think a draw at the best, though, from the Cambridge team is only the last option. They have to keep this out.
They certainly do. Can they work something? Oh, a touch from Ben Powell. Mark Phelan there in the middle of James O'Donnell. Here is Phelan. Been a real battle going on between Phelan and Sam Missing, and they're both on at the moment. Trying to keep themselves disciplined, Cambridge. Oh, nice work from Donnybrook, going for the line, and there we go. And that probably is that, with 1.5 minutes to go. And Donnybrook had their 6th of the match, and just caught in the middle. And it's, as defensively, you never want to try and concede through the middle. It's always so frustrating.
It is, yeah. You could see Powell there had done the right thing. They'd stepped back. Missing was just a little bit late on the shutdown. But 1 minute to go on the clock with 3 to go. I think the game is all but won here by the Donnybrook team. A bit of pride left to get from Missing. He's gone long.
Cat James back into the middle. Sam Missing now. Can he try and work something? Here's Matty Maynard.
6 down. Ball down. Again, she can't see what happened there, so the ball is just going to be turned back over. Just a roll ball. Again, playing the clock down here. The Donnybrook team, they know that they've got this one in the bag. Hands up, asking for the referees for anything on this one now. I think a bit of frustration in some of the young Cambridge players.
Yeah, they're a young side, and every game is a learning experience. Sam Missing just trying to go in there, and he's had a bit of a frustrating one. And that comes to an end then of what's been a fiery encounter, and it's Donnybrook who come out winners by 6 points to 3 over Cambridge. And we now move on to our penultimate game of the day, which will see 6-pack Roosters taking on the German side Berlin. That'll be coming up next here in Maidenhead for the European Touch Club Championships 2019.
3-minute turnarounds between games as they all come thick and fast here in Maidenhead in the Thames Valley in the 2019 European Club Championships, joined by John Ennis, who's the coach of the Donnybrook side, who we just saw overcome Cambridge. And what would be best described as a combative or competitive encounter?
It was feisty, yeah. It was a bit of biting it, but we enjoy those type of games. I hope Cambridge do too.
I think it's one of those things when you get to the top level of any kind of tournament. Cambridge have been very competitive in both the men's and women's and the mixed elite national touch series here in England as well. And you guys have come over and have been playing well as well. So it's the kind of thing you're going to expect. Yeah.
I guess it's just it's part and parcel of the game. But great score there from six-pack.
But just Karen, in terms of the approach that you guys have got coming across when you see obviously the likes of Cambridge, but also looking in other pools, the hot custards, the BBRs, six-pack, people like that. The standard at the top end of this competition is very high this weekend.
Yeah, it's a big step up for us. We play in the Ireland Touch Series, but we don't get this level of competition regularly, so it's great for us to be able to come over here and play against sides. I was watching Hot Custard just there earlier. They're very, very impressive. Yeah,
Hot Custard, BBR on the backfields. And no doubt we'll probably see that one again tomorrow as the cup competition heats up on day 2, and it's Berlin who are looking to strike back against six-pack Roosters, who travelled down from Edinburgh, and they have been one of the form teams of the competition so far. We saw them overcome CSSE London Eagles earlier on today. If you're Berlin going into this, knowing that how good this Roosters team is, it's packed full of Scottish mixed open internationals, what's the approach on the sideline for them?
I guess Berlin are going to try and work through their sets of 6. They're very good when they're on the move and they're driving up the pitch.
As has just been shown there with a touchdown for Andrew Davis to tie things up almost out of the blue.
Yeah, they've got a very good strike player, Christoph, very good on the scoop. Usually when they get the defence rolling and set for him, it's a good score. Good score there too also.
Lovely show and go there from Andrew Davis. And Chris Lafoucard, who's Coach Napoleon, they call him.
I hope he's as aggressive.
We've seen him here a few times last year, both in the club tournament and also with France for the European Touch Championships. The six-pack looked to go through again for touchdown number 2, Charlie Brett.
Christoph with the touch. The diving touch on the line.
His nickname on his when he was playing for, I think it was a French exiles team, was Brexit.
Makes sense.
Because he spent so much time living in London, and there's absolute shutting down there on the Roosters side. They're fantastic hands over in the corner from Shona Campbell. But yeah, as you say, John, 6 more there given by Hot Rog, the referee.
I have to say the refereeing standard today has been very, very impressive. It's great to come over here and play with such good level of refereeing.
So speaking to Bronwyn Wake earlier on, she was saying there's referees here from 7 nations, including countries that aren't actually represented on the field, including Switzerland and Australia as well. Peter Cramp from Touch Football Australia just walking past. He's been in the country for a couple of weeks, was at Canterbury last week in the final round of the Sport Tape Elite Men's and Women's National Touch Series, and will be at the Nationals in a couple of weeks' time as well. It's good to see him over and passing on some of his, I was going to say definite wisdom. I was going to say wit, but I think he's watching the cricket and isn't too impressed by how Australia are going at the minute.
Ireland are going quite well in the cricket, actually. Didn't want to bring it up, but since you brought up the cricket.
But here come Berlin through Chris Lafoucard. He takes Berlin onto the front foot. It's just coming up to the midway point in the first half of this round robin game. In terms of how the teams are going to segment tomorrow, the top 2 from each pool goes through to the cup, the second 2 go through to the plate, and the third go into the bowl, and they will have more round robin games tomorrow, followed by a placing match, and we will have all of the main cup final and the bronze medal match midway through tomorrow afternoon. In terms of what you're getting at, so obviously you're playing teams of different standards today. The Cambridges, but also there are teams that are definitely on the developing scale. Yeah. So what are you getting out of playing them as well?
We played against a team from Portugal this morning. First time I've ever played against a team from Portugal, and just got the touch in the corner there. Yeah, really fun game. We just try and go through our systems and our patterns, try and keep it nice and smooth. against developing teams, and just hopefully our patterns will see us through, you know.
Yeah, I was having a chat to one of their players earlier on during the half-time of the previous game. I think they're, as a nation, they're developing a massive amount, 20 teams, who are saying, in the Portuguese Championship
really?
now.
Wow, that's impressive, very impressive. We don't even have 20 teams in Ireland.
And yet you're going into next year's European Championships as the reigning men's 45s
that's true,
champions.
we are, yeah.
And the senior mixed champions as well.
Senior mixed gold medalists last year, Billy Nguini and Tanya Rosser did a great job last year, bringing us all the way to the gold. The 45s, who played as the 50s in the World Cup in Kuala Lumpur, were unlucky. They missed out on a bronze with a drop-off. But very, very good team, very good team. The first touch team ever in Ireland actually was the Marley Park Tipsters, who was made up of about 20 years ago, and they're all on the 50s team now. They make up the bulk of it.
Christophe Lafourcade, one of the more experienced players in this Touch Berlin outfit, as we talked about before. He's in the middle pulling the strings. Feeds it inside to Crawford Matthews. Matthews gets the ball back from Lafourcade. Is this ball down? Randy's given it. And Berlin are in front, and this I know there's a lot left to play in this game, but this is a real turn up for the books already.
Quickie return, yeah, very good play. One of Christoph's favourite plays, and he gets in on the middle.
So in terms of touch in Ireland and how it's growing, I mean, you're saying that in terms of the numbers of clubs, but you know, it seems to be a very dedicated community, and especially in terms of aiming high at the international level as well.
Absolutely, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's a very, very dedicated bunch. Great levels of commitment. We don't have the opportunity to play teams of a high level regularly, but we do play each other regularly, so that kind of sharpens us. Great score.
As Six-Pack Roosters tie things up straight away, no hanging about, definitely no flies on them as they go over for their second touchdown. Ross Taylor, 50 plus caps for Scotland. The experience from mixed open and men's open, and he's just coming back from a ruptured Achilles at the 2018 Euros. Played at the World Cup and is here representing this weekend. So Berlin credited themselves well in the first 8 minutes of this game, as Lafourcade gets the ball wide out to the left, and here we go again. Going for the line. That was Linny Lynn.
Great ball from Christophe off the sweeper, but the wrong line, unfortunately.
Seemed to stumble there as well, but here come Berlin. They're stretching Six-Pack really, really well, aren't they?
Great game so far, 2-2.
Most important thing as they go for the line again, just on the sixth touch and a turnover. Crawford Matthews getting touched as not intimidated by what's in front of them, which is important.
No, both teams seem really up for this game, and it's a ding-dong battle so far. Be interesting to see how it plays out.
Certainly plenty of interested spectators up in the stands as Roosters bring play into the middle.
Oh, great line.
Straight through the middle. We've seen this a few times from teams today, and a lovely finish from Shona Campbell on the left. Great touchdown, but that was all made by the attack through the middle.
Absolutely, yeah. The touch just before the strike dump was excellent, and a great pass out to the wing.
Callum Smith there on the show and go, holding the final defender, and then finding the space out wide. Just been told Shona Campbell scored 6 in her last game, and that's 6 in one game, not 6 across the course of the weekend, which just goes to show what Six-Pack are going to be trying to do in terms of getting the ball wide. It's one of the hallmarks we're seeing from the top teams this weekend. Yeah,
I was watching Hot Custard earlier. They really do like to bomb it out to the wing. Got some very good female wingers and links that are finishing for them.
That's one of the things as a coach. How much time do you spend on getting the wingers to be able to catch? I mean, I know it sounds like a really basic skill, but you know, even on a day like today when it's dry but people have got sunscreen on, it's a bit muggy outside, it's not an easy thing to do, and especially when we see the end on shots when the ball's coming fizzing 20 odd metres. It's not an easy skill, is it?
No, it's not. It's something we would ask our players to work on in their spare time a lot. So we're lucky that we've got quite a lot of good passers and good long passers on our teams. So we ask them to buddy up and go to the park and practice as much as possible.
Fresh set of 6 there for the Roosters. 6-pack in the name, 6 touches on their way. And absolutely plenty of patience. Charlie Brett just going to take the roll ball about 6-7 metres out. Ross Taylor gets the ball back to Brett, and you can see plenty of discussion there.
Good clock management there from Ross.
Dive comes in from Rowan Chillingworth. I think Berlin would have been able to see. It was one of those things where you can see what's being built up, but then it's just a question of how can you stop it. And Berlin managed to do that perfectly on that occasion.
Yeah, Ross pulling the strings out there now. He looks pretty comfortable. I think they're going to try and see out as much of this set of 6 as possible.
Berlin just pull out a little bit, but Ross Taylor gets the ball wide to the right. Ball just hits the deck. Unfortunately from Lair Gladding, just can't keep hold of things on that occasion, but it looks like 6-pack are going to get another set. I think you'd hear a long blow from Hot Rod Neighbours in the middle, the man in the middle at the moment with the rotating match officials. But here comes Ross Taylor and making the dive, Charlie Brett, but again the touch comes in and Berlin are defending this very, very well.
Big set now from the Berlin defence. They've got to see out these touches to half time. Good plant.
Here comes Charlie Brett. Dancing feet. The defence held out. Unfortunately, the dancing feet proved the difference, and 6-pack Roosters are now 2 in front.
Really good rip off the deck there. Nice step back. Great finish.
What a way to end the first half. 6-pack Roosters go 2 up against Touch Berlin. John Ennis, thank you very much for your time. Good luck for the rest of the day. And we'll be back with the second half of this game in just a couple of minutes' time. Don't go anywhere.
To describe a changeover, it's as a result of a mistake. So mistakes can be from dropping the ball.
Stay on! Ball's down. Just the ball down, Joe.
When the play has gone over the sideline or beyond the dead ball line.
Touch 27! Good.
And during play, when the acting half runs with the ball and gets touched.
12 all the way, 12 still, good.
And the most common one is on the 6th touch. That's when possession gets changed over also.
So just at the break then, in our penultimate game of the opening day here in Maidenhead, the European Touch Club Championships 2019. As you see the various pools just skipping through on your screen right now, and they are taking shape. Looking at Group A, Hot Custard leading the way. 5 played, 5 wins. The 2 English sides currently on top on that one, and then 6-pack Roosters that we are just seeing in action at the moment against Touch Berlin, and they are currently on top of that one as well.
Yeah, Brad, that I caught that a little bit of that BBR Hot Custard game, and we saw and unfortunately it wasn't live streamed. It was on the pitch behind us. It was a game that went down to the final play of the game in Oxford when they played in the Belief Elite National Touch Series, and I was watching a bit of it earlier on, and as the game wore on, there were more and more people taking an interest in it. It was touch of the highest quality.
As we are reaching the closing moments then of closing stage, I should say, of this opening day. We will, of course, going into the knockout phases tomorrow, but still a bit more touch rugby left to play here in Maidenhead today. Here come Berlin looking to try and get forward. Can they? They just need to get this next score if they can get a foothold back into this one.
Yeah, I think that that touchdown from the Roosters right on the stroke of half-time is going to be the crucial score. You know, Berlin were going toe-to-toe with Berlin all the way through that first half, and just to have a 2-score margin, you know, is going to be, I think, is massively important for them.
And here come Berlin through the middle and trying to work an attack. Quite slow, laboured in this attack at the moment. Just working from right to left. Can they try and force the initiative? Trying to work their way through. Over the 10-metre mark they go.
One of the key differences, I think, you know, we're talking about in the first half with John Ennis about players getting the ball out wide, is that when you watch the, you know, the Roosters earlier on, and when you watch the likes of BBR, Hot Custard, you know, when they're firing out those 30 or 40, those 20 or 30 metre passes, they're doing it on the goal line or past the goal line. So even though if somebody sees it coming and is trying to track it, is that even if the winger catches it, they've got a good chance of scoring. What we've seen there from Chris Lafourcade is a great pass, and it's a great catch on the wing, but she's got 5 metres to play. And a team as good as the Roosters is always going to be able to shut that down and to scramble to force her inside or to take the touch. You know, the chances of Berlin scoring from that's pretty low, and that's one thing I think they're just going to need to do, is to attack the six-pack Roosters line closer to it to give the wingers a chance to be able to score.
Yeah, we often see the really good players in the middle, just when they're on that goal line, can fling a pass out, can't they? And put the momentum on the wing. Here's Charlie Brett, though. He's always a pivotal player on any side we've seen. And six-pack Roosters are looking to go through again, and they do, and they potentially could be one of the winning scores and swing that momentum in their favour. 3 points up to the good, and that just seemed really easy, Chris, actually.
It did. It's one of those things where we saw in the first half it was a show and go to create the score. That's exactly what we've seen just then, is that there's two, you go in this scooping situation, because the half can't score, they try and get to the end of the in goal area, right up to the dead ball line, so that every pass from then goes backwards. And what they've done is they've created space just with that extra dummy, which just held Chris Lafourcade in defence, and then found the score. But that was a lovely bit of play from, who was it? It was Rowan Chillingworth who to create that, just with the patience and the skill, you know, and to do that all at the split second timing as well.
Well, here come six-pack Roosters again. They've had a fantastic afternoon. They've seen some clinical performances from the Scottish team, and they're looking to come forward again. Rowan Chillingworth involved, and that was the final touch. So turnover possession, oh no, just a loss of control on the placement of the ball. So a good opportunity now for Berlin to try and drive forward, and heading towards the sub spot, maybe get some fresh faces on, which they do. And we see them come onto the field now, over on the 10-metre mark, driving forward. Nice little instep and going back inside, and just it doesn't seem as the tempo isn't there. There's not enough energy going forward. It slows down, doesn't it, every time they look to go forward.
Yes, good defence from Roosters there. You know, it's one of the things that we talk about all the way through the course of the year, is the momentum that you need to do. And all of a sudden, as soon as they start to, I mean, it's just really unfortunate now that Ross Taylor's managed to just didn't have the legs to break clear, but it's just unfortunate from Berlin that he managed to get it without interception, because all of a sudden they put the pace on, were looking dangerous.
Still have it in possession though, six-pack Roosters. What can Marshall McLeod do? He's laid it off to Charlie Brett. Charlie Brett is there. Charlie and Ross were with us in the commentary box earlier, giving us their insight. Charlie Brett whipping it out. Oh, but good defence from Berlin. Almost just came out of nowhere just to prevent that one from going through. And now they look to forge an attack themselves from deep. Can they just build something? But that high line defence again from six-pack Roosters, although a lovely arcing run over to that far side, making some fantastic yards. And really pushing his side up the field. Now onto the 10-metre mark. Just a simple pass to the right. Can they use this now? Opportunity to head for the line. Space opening up. Can they get through? Good touch.
One of the things that's going to pay a massive amount of difference is the number of substitutes. So just looking over, and Berlin have 4 subs, and including 1 female player, whereas six-pack Roosters have got 5. And at this stage of the day, you know, where every team's playing 5 games, and they're all very high intensity, there's not a lot of time to bed yourself in. You have to come flying straight out of the gate, and as I say, especially if some of the players would have travelled over today or yesterday, it's going to start, the legs are going to start getting heavy, and that's going to start paying a bit of difference.
Yeah, we had a couple of players flying in this morning. Anna Crisp was with us in the comms box. She had an early flight down from Scotland this morning. Got a bit of a kip on the sofa here in the clubhouse to get ourselves powered up for the day.
Just a massive thank you to everybody at Maidenhead for being so welcoming, and as you say, the sofas in the clubhouse have proved very, very useful. It's one of the cooler rooms as well, which is much needed. Yeah,
it's a very muggy day, isn't it? That's been the players' message to us throughout the day. And here come the six-pack Roosters. Can they add a 6 for the scoreboard? They've got a lot of momentum in their side. Here's Taylor, and they do, and they open up and they slice through them, and as easy as that, six-pack Roosters add a 6. And Ross Taylor didn't really have to move much. He was just waiting for the ball just to come back to him, and just strolled over the line. As easy as that.
Yeah, that one's created by the quick play off the floor. Is that if a half goes in and scoops and goes, they can't score, and all of a sudden the dancing feet there, the combination meant that you had to get the defender coming in from Berlin, Andrew Davis, and you know, that's at that speed you need to have the player on the outside to be well aware that they're going to be coming in and shutting in, and it just opened up too quickly for Ross Taylor, and over they go.
So on the 5-metre line, can they work something? Berlin, they definitely need the next score now if they're going to somehow get in this. Need the support. Oh, just dips in front of him, can't cling on, and that goes the opportunity.
Goes back to the pace you think you were talking about earlier on. You know, it's Christophe Lafocard, you know, injects a bit of pace, goes through to the end of the end zone, just can't find the support. And again, a lot of this six-pack Roosters team would have played together for Scotland in the mixed opens. And you know, and that kind of experience counts for an awful lot as well. You end up, you know, just look at the options they've got. They can go wide, they can keep it tight. It's very difficult to defend at a split-second notice, and then you just see spaces open up in variety. And also, and the more important thing is that the ball players in the middle have the ability to pick their option as well and to capitalise. And it's one of those things where it always seems the right option when it comes off, but to be able to assess what it is and then have the skill to put it off in the blink of an eye is brilliant.
Yeah, I've seen some superb skill on show in the opening day here, and as we're getting into the closing stages of today here in Maidenhead, good bit of atmosphere and support for both sides out here, and important touch there, just trying to stop that attack from happening, but still an opportunity here for six-pack Roosters. And also
you can see how much it's taking out on the Berlin team, can't you? They're using every opportunity to grab some breath, and even though the try difference is going to come into play when it comes to the placings, you know, it's more important at this stage just to give yourself that breather, hold out six-pack for as long as you can, and then preferably force them to go through a set of 6 without scoring, and then come up the other end and score. And great defence there from Berlin. Just, as I say, just took their time, didn't lose their cool, shut things down when they needed to.
And now the opportunity for the German side to try and force their way up the field. Can they do just that? Deep inside their own half. Passing it backwards, trying to run onto the ball with a bit of momentum, and now a chance to break towards the halfway. She takes a tumble, but she's okay, and getting towards the 10-metre mark in the 6-pack half. This is a nice positive piece of play from Berlin. Can they finish it off? Oh, just that flick pass from the back of the hand. It would have looked fantastic if it had come off.
One of the highlights could have been. I think the other thing, just in terms of the, especially the continental teams, is that, you know, while, you know, teams are coming over from Frankfurt and Berlin and Spain, it's great to see the number of different nationalities who are playing. You know, so people move away, and Christophe Lafourcade being one of them. You know, he's a Frenchman who's playing for Berlin, and you've seen English players playing for the Spanish clubs, and Kiwis popping up everywhere, and Aussies popping up everywhere, because wherever they go, they have ball, will travel, will play, so to speak. And you know, and everywhere they're going, they're spreading the gospel of the game. And great honesty there from Ross Taylor, just saying, I touched that in flight, it should be a fresh set of 6. And Berlin can work their way over the halfway line.
So under a minute to go, can Berlin just finish off the day with a score, just to close this gap to only 3 points? Let's see what they can do as they drive forward. A nice little flicked up pop pass, and a chance maybe to finish it off. Oh, and just can't. That final pass, and just couldn't be executed. Crawford Matthews, just with that pass over the top, just with a bit too much, and a turnover possession. And you're talking there, Chris, about all the Aussies and the Kiwis all around, and Andrew Davies, of course, for Touch Berlin, he's noted down as our Aussie for Berlin. And over the 10-metre mark they go. Here's 6-pack Roosters. Can they finish off with a plum? Although we're surely only moments away from the hooter. There is that hooter, there is the touch, and that brings a close to our penultimate game of the day here in Maidenhead, and it is a win for the 6-pack Roosters against Berlin Touch. And we'll now move on to our final game of the day, which will see Source taking on Cambridge. That'll be coming up next. Don't go anywhere. It's set to be a fantastic final game here in Maidenhead for the European Touch Club Championships 2019. So here we go then, our final game of the opening day here in Maidenhead, the European Touch Club Championships 2019. And actually our first look at Source who will be taking on Cambridge Hornets. And of course, seeing Cambridge involved a couple of times on pitch number 1. They were in a heated affair with Donnybrook earlier on in the day. And let's see what Sauce are all about. Some bit of experience, the likes of Oliver Ward, 71 international caps, and Mitch Hamer, 10 international caps as well. Let's see how they get on in our final game of the day. This one comes from Pool B. So turnover possession, and now Vicky Franks now. Samuel missing into the middle. Here's Ben Powell missing, gets it back on the 10 metre. Matty Maynard still full of running. He is like a Duracell bunny, is that man. He never stops. Got 4 in our first outing we saw of Cambridge early on in the day against Frankfurt. And here's Cat Jones and the engine room in this Cambridge side. Matty Maynard laying off to Ben Powell. Sauce just having to defend on this occasion. Sauce from the island of Guernsey. And they've won the Mixed League in 2012, 13, 15, 16, 17 and 18. And are aiming to try and collect the 2019 Mixed League trophy as well. And Sauce is it's their second international tournament that they've been involved in. They went over to Milan last year and came up against some really tough opponents and made a good account of themselves. So they are climbing up the ladder as Sauce from the island of Guernsey. And this will be another tough battle for them. Let's see how they get on against well-drilled Cambridge side. Although coming off the back of a fiery encounter against Donnybrook earlier on in the day. Here is Glenn Jones laying Harry Missing, the young Harry Missing is on the field as well. And here is Ollie Maynard looking to go through himself. The diving touch doesn't come in. And Cambridge get off the mark inside the 3rd minute. And it was fantastic work from Ollie Maynard and Glenn Jones. And it was actually Oliver Ward who just sort of gave Glenn Jones a helping hand in pushing him forward and opening up that space. And so Cambridge have the first score of our final game of the day. Let's see how Sauce will respond. What's their temperament? How do they reply then? Here they come deep into the Cambridge half, into the central position. Harry Burns now. Oh, the ball just runs loose and the chance is gone. Slater, Harry Missing. Does he just get away from his man? Here's Matty Maynard, gets the touch in from Burns. Here's Harry Missing. Nicky Ferns involved. Here's Matty Maynard. Harry Missing, Slater. Maynard again, lovely combination play at the moment, going through the middle, driving forward, putting pressure on this Sauce defence, trying to make them roll back, but they're standing strong. Here's Slater back and tried to find the route back into the middle to Nicky Ferns, but turnover in possession was a good solid defence from Sauce. How do Sauce respond? Over their own 10 metre mark they go. Nice work going towards the halfway. Oh, birding away. Mitch Harmer doing well. Back into the middle. So I'm delighted to say for this final game I'm joined by six-pack Roosters player Marshall McLeod. Marshall, it's been a long day, but how have you found it here in Maidenhead?
Yeah, it's been great. Like you say, it was a long day. 25-minute games helps,
Yes.
but it was hot and it was a bit tiring towards the end. But it's been really good.
Yeah.
Good quality of touch, which is nice, which is what
Absolutely.
you'd expect from the European Championships, but still, it's always fun when you're playing fast, good touch.
And do you feel yourself and the team, have you got what you set out to do on the opening day here today?
Yeah, absolutely. We got through all our games, won them all, so we're through to the round robin tomorrow. And yeah, that's exactly what we wanted today. So now we're just going to draw a line under it and get ready for tomorrow.
Is everyone ready for them for tomorrow then after today? What's the plan of action for this evening, just to rest up a tad?
Yeah, there's a few broken bodies. We had a couple of injuries and people are tired, but I suspect there's the dinner tonight, so we'll be heading to that, and then we'll probably be sampling the delights of Maidenhead's nightlife, I think.
Yeah, it's a lovely part of the world actually down here. And at the moment, so we're in our final game then, so Source taking on Cambridge. Our first look at Source from Guernsey, and a few experienced campaigners in this side. Oliver Ward, 71 international caps, and Cambridge, of course, played in the Belief Elite National Touch Series, so should be a good matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. I see a few faces from the England mixed open side. Sam missing there. I'm sure there's a couple others in the Cambridge team. So yeah, it'll be a good game, good high quality game. Oh, having said that, someone just dropped it.
That's our first look at the commentator's curse there, and yeah, just couldn't cling on that one. Is it potentially just that lack of concentration after a long day?
Yeah, definitely. And everyone's got sweaty palms, and you're trying to catch your breath, and then someone throws a ball at you that you're not expecting. It's tough sometimes. These things happen. Yeah. I love the hitch step there. Yeah,
Sam Missing always seems to be I mentioned earlier, he's a bit like a Duracell bunny, isn't he, Sam Missing? Just along with Matty Maynard, just never seem to stop running, them two.
Yeah, he's a strong player for sure, and he'll be part of the England setup for a few years, part of their future. So it's nice to see him running well.
And Cambridge into a commanding lead, 4 minutes to go, leading by 3. And as a side, how have you looked at sort of playing these obviously European sides? You don't get the chance to play the teams from Barcelona, of course, from France and the Netherlands, Amsterdam. It must be really a good opportunity to play these European sides.
Yeah, it's always interesting when you're playing teams like that because you don't know exactly what you're going to get, and that's part of the fun. You sort of see some familiar faces from the Paris Open in Gif, and there was a Berlin tournament that was quite big a couple of years ago. So there's a lot of familiar faces, and from just the national Euros as well. But it's always fun when you get outside of your little Scotland or England bubble and play everyone.
So Source manages to get one back. Let's have another look on the replay, and just sort of lands off Slater's back and pops up into a favourable position, and an easy score in the end.
Yeah, I was quite lucky there, but got to take those when they come.
Absolutely. And here's Ben Power. Here's Matty Maynard. Oh, bit of a netball / hospital pass.
Yeah, well,
at the same time.
Got down quite quickly for a big man.
He did, Matty Sandland. And here's Ben Powell driving forward. Always seems to be at the heart of everything in this Cambridge side. That was unlucky. Here was Vicky Franks there, current England women's 27s player. So 2 minutes remaining then. And of course, for viewers who joined us for the Belief Elite National Touch Series, didn't get the chance to obviously see six-pack Roosters. Just tell us a bit more about the club and how they've progressed over the last couple of years.
Yeah, so I think last year we celebrated our 10-year anniversary, which was nice. We've won the Scottish Touch Series for the last couple of seasons, which has been sort of a big aim for us, big goal. So we've been going pretty well. We play in the ETS League in Edinburgh most weeks, or Edinburgh-based side. And yeah, so
there we go, Matty Maynard. We've seen that before, just going through and just putting the afterburners on. He's almost just got lightning boots on, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Just gets away. It's a good chase, but she didn't have much of a chance, unfortunately.
Once he's past you, it's almost impossible, isn't it, to stop him?
Yeah.
And sorry, yeah, of course, Marshall, you're just talking about six-pack Roosters and up in Edinburgh. So how has it developed, and what's it like? What's the Scottish touch rugby scene like up there?
So yeah, it's in pretty good health. The mixed open team, we just came back from Malaysia with a bronze medal, which was really fantastic, and has been maybe a 10-year journey to get there. From the first sort of the beginnings of that happened in 2007 at the South Africa World Cup, and then it's been sort of a long slog. I joined in 2014. But sort of guys like Robbie McKenzie, the retired coach, and Mikey Short, the captain, Dan Fitzgerald as well, and Colin Anderson have really sort of been there for the whole journey and put some real effort in. So it was really good for those guys that they got that result.
Yeah, speaking to a lot of the Scottish guys, and they were saying it was such a proud moment, wasn't it, to bring back that bronze medal? It must have been so satisfying.
Yeah, it was just amazing, and it was just there was challenges in the comp with the heat, but on the whole, like the tournament was just so much fun. And yeah, to come away with the medal was awesome. And yeah, we said goodbye to a few of those guys, so it was the end of their sort of journey with Scottish Touch, so it was quite emotional as well. But yeah, it was brilliant.
Well, that brings an end to the first half here in our final game. Cambridge Hornets in total command against Source as they lead by 4 points to 1. And we'll be back, myself and Marshall, for the second half in a couple of moments' time.
So the touch is the equivalent of a tackle in rugby union or rugby league. In touch, we get 6 of them to try and score a touchdown. Scoring a touchdown, you have those 6 touches, and the defence are trying to make all 6 to prevent you from scoring. You can also touch clothing, boots, legs, wherever in order to create that touch. You can have such thing as a hard tackle or a hard touch, which is where you put too much force into the touch. A heavy touch can be made by the attacker or the defender as well. The attacker putting too much force on the initiated touch, or the defender putting too much force into the push of the touch. An attacker can either initiate the touch to stop the defence from making it, or the defence can make the touch themselves. The attacker can make the touch to make a better roll ball and to keep the momentum in the attack.
So here we go then, the final 12 minutes then of action in this opening day here in Maidenhead, the European Touch Club Championships 2019. And I'm delighted to say I'm joined by Marshall McLeod for the final 12 minutes from six-pack Roosters. And we're actually just briefly talking on air before the start of the second half about that difference from that. Is it almost like a mentality thing in terms of change from the 20-minute halves to the 12 minutes? How do you think about that going into a game?
Oh yeah, I think the mentality completely changes because you're kind of like, in a 20-minute game, if you're under the cosh a bit and you're puffing and you're a bit tired, you know you've got a lot of running still left if it's sort of first half. But then with these 20-minute, 25-minute games, 12-minute halves, you just know that, I just have to make it another 5 minutes, another 8 minutes maybe. And then, so just you can hold on a lot easier, I think. And tactics-wise, it means if you get sort of an ascendancy, it's very hard to change that momentum because there just isn't time, really.
So Cambridge look to try and get that fifth on the board, but this Source defence just keeps them out, and you get the feeling the next score, I think, will probably be so pivotal. If Cambridge can get this next one, could almost see the game done and dusted, and this is a great chance now. Yeah,
turnover just outside the 5. And yeah, you're absolutely right. I think 5-1 is very tough to come back from in 10 minutes. I think is that Samison's younger brother there, 51. I'm not sure how old he is, but he's doing very well to be mixing it up with some serious touch players.
Yeah, we actually had Sam in the commentary box earlier, and he was saying that Harry got the call up last week, so he's been looking forward to it all week, and he's actually put on a really good show. He's done really well.
Yeah, I watched one of their games earlier, and he was, you would, apart from obviously his appearance, you wouldn't know he was younger than Larry. He's just had a great score. It was a wonderful finish.
There's a few little things you can just see that sort of similar to Sam, can't you? Just that same sort of body movement that Harry has.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm sure sort of the under-18s teams will definitely be looking at him. He might already be involved with that because there's a Euros in France, under-18 championships coming up, so might see more of him there.
Yeah, I definitely know Sam's heading off to Paris in August. I'm pretty sure Harry probably might be going as well, but
I think they have an under-15s. I don't know how old Harry is, but there's an under-15s level as well, so maybe he'll be in that.
Yeah, that will be coming up over the weekend of the 16th to the 18th of August. That's the European Junior Touch Championships in Paris. And it's only in a couple of weekends' time. It's so much touch rugby. It just rolls into one almost.
Yeah, absolutely. When you get to the end of the summer and you kind of go, I've played touch almost every weekend and maybe one evening a week as well. It does. It's great, and but by the end you're ready for a wee Christmas break, and it's nice when that comes. But the under-18 competitions in general have just been fantastic because you're kind of seeing more in the last, since Nottingham, the Euros were in Nottingham in 2018, and you saw a lot of former under-18s players in like all the open squads then, and the World Cup as well. It's just a really good platform to build that sort of player base and just develop some youngsters to come in and push out the old guys.
Yeah, I mean, what I've found, and speaking to players, that it's such an exciting time for touch rugby in general. You see loads of young players coming through, which is maybe a difference to the attitude in the past, where I know a couple of the players have said that it was more of a sort of a training exercise, almost, touch rugby, and it's great to see it develop and you see these young players coming through.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like you get a lot of that, guys coming over from rugby who just kind of do it to keep fit in summer, but now we're seeing a lot of people who it's their main sport, it's their primary sport, and they're putting in almost professional effort, and the quality of touches, especially in the Northern Hemisphere. The Southern Hemisphere have been outstanding for a long time, but the Northern Hemisphere is really growing. And yeah, you've got formats like this. This is a new tournament this year. We're getting it streamed on sort of the BBC and YouTube, and it's all really just good news for the sport.
And here comes Source then over the 10-metre mark. Can they try and make a difference? Can they get a point on the ball, reduce the gap again?
They've been very static in this middle portion. So often in touch games, that's a great drive in there. That's exactly what they need to be doing. But really, the difference in these two teams has been when Cambridge have got the ball, they've got from end to end very effectively, much more so than their opponents, and it just makes all the difference because it means you're constantly getting goals at the line. You're always making them run the full 70 to have a go at your line, and it puts lead in the legs of the opposition and gives you loads of touchdowns. But you just see there when they're in the middle of the field, they're just a bit static. They're not really penetrating the Cambridge half very much.
Yeah, it does feel like the big difference. I know this is the end of the day, but Cambridge still full of running, aren't they? Just really trying to drive the team back. I know I've been hearing the term of rolling defence, trying to push their opposition back further and further.
Yeah, and just even then they're moving the ball a little bit, so Exactly, just like that. They're never giving the team a chance to get set defensively. They're constantly sort of changing it, and then we see the result. Just a bit of pace, and he's come through. Oh, no, he's been pulled back, I think. I thought the player was offside, but the ref's called a touch, so fair enough.
Yeah, referees just brought it back, so Source will now start from their own half. Let's see what they can do from this one. Can they make up some early yards out of their own half? But again, this Cambridge defence pushing up high and trying to stop them even entering their own half.
Yeah, and that's just crucial as well. Like, that energy you get in attack, you need to be showing it in defence as well to, like you say, keep them in their own half. It's really tough when you're constantly trying to scoop from, and yeah, so things like that happen. But yeah, if you're constantly trying to scoop from the 10-metre line, you're never really going to get going. You need cracks at the line right up there to be scoring touchdowns consistently. This is a really good opportunity for Cambridge now. They've got the ball on their 10, so hopefully they can get going and fly up the field.
Yeah, the experienced Glenn Jones making up some good early yards. Here's Matty Maynard, always with a spring in his step, going through the middle. Glenn Jones looking left and right, but opts to just slow things down. Here's Nicky Ferns now, the number 18. Slater now, slowing the pace right down, almost just waiting for that perfect opportunity. Here's Matty Maynard back inside to Glenn Jones.
That was a really good read from Oliver Ward there. Just came in and shut down the attack. You saw that his middle was in a bit of trouble. He'd been turned around, and he just came in, put a stop to it, and got back in his correct position. So that was great. Great defence.
Yeah, Ollie Ward, he's one of the older statesmen in this side, but he brings a whole book of experience into this Source team. So 4.5 minutes left remaining. And we're going to see just one final push from this Guernsey side. Let's see what they can do. Making that arcing run. Oh, a lovely move inside. Where's that bit of energy come from? Over the 10-metre. Nice little pass, and suddenly it's all happening for Source now, coming through the middle. Chance maybe to capitalise on this. Can they do so?
Oh, unlucky. That was a much better attack, like you said, and then I just guddled it right at the end.
Yeah, that was one of the better moves we've seen from Source, and unlucky actually, because the idea was right, wasn't it? Trying to get that pass down low to get it in, and just couldn't cling on.
Yeah, that's exactly where you want the ball in those situations. Those trail balls, you want them about a foot off the ground, so like you say, you can just get the ball down as quick as possible before a touch comes in.
So just under 4 minutes then remaining. Every second that passes by, Cambridge really solidifying this scoreline. Oh, look at this from Sam Missing, just slithering his way through, just almost ghosting past defenders. Harry and Sam linking up. Oh, but what interception.
He's got it. Go.
Keep going, son.
Put the foot down. He almost was surprised that he had the ball. He came out away with that. And then he wasn't sure. He should have just pinned his ears back and gone for it. Maybe he didn't have the legs.
But that Cambridge defence, as soon as they've given the ball away, get back into that defensive position straight away, don't they?
Yeah, that was great energy from Cambridge to get back there. They had 2 or 3 chases immediately, which just killed the attack. And then they've got the ball back on their, just on their 10.
Cat Jones now. Harry Missing.
Yeah, that's a killer there. Penalty for offside. That just came all through the pace of the Missing brothers there, just driving in hard, and the Source defence couldn't get backwards quickly enough.
I've heard the word coach killer a couple of times today.
Coaches hate those ones because it's just effort, and it just means that they get sort of five shots at your line, whereas if you don't give away the penalty, obviously then they've got to scoop maybe from 10, 50 out, and it's just, at the end of the day, when there's tired legs with 5 shots, you really should expect players of these quality to be taking that score. So coaches go mad for it.
There's Cat Jones. What can she do? Harry Missing is there, lays it off to his brother Sam. Sam with that fling pass out wide to Ollie Maynard. Oh, and that's a lovely play. Lucy Norburn finishes it off, and that was probably one of the tries of the game. Well executed.
Yeah, lovely handling there. Let's see what move it was. So that's an ML, is what we call that, and then Missing sort of, I think there was an Aussie runner, which is when a player's sort of, rather than running an inline, like attacking a hole, they sort of slide out and attack a wider space, and I think that's what happened there. ML, Aussie, and then just good hands from the link to the wing to finish it off. And again, another killer from Source.
And over the halfway line they come, and still plenty of running in these boots of these Cambridge players. There's Sandler into the middle to Maynard, Ben Powell. The heartbeat of this side is Slater. With Vicky Franks over on this left-hand side, but up to go into the middle with a minute remaining. Matty Maynard. Just looking up and down his opposition, and here's Matthew Sandler back into Maynard. Scoops past one, goes in.
That's a great touch. Wow. Really good effort, just leaping up from the floor there to snag his boot. Great work.
That was the skipper, Harry Burns. A fantastic last gasp touch, and opting to go out wide. Is the space opening up here? Ben Powell, and Burns actually just gets it again.
Wow. Yeah, that was a great effort. You know, like at the end of a long day, when you're 6-2 down, to still be putting forth that effort and making those touches, that's really impressive. And it's a shame that they scored the next play, unfortunately, despite, again, a good chase.
So seconds tick down here in Maidenhead. We'll be hearing that hooter very soon, and it'll bring a close to the opening day here in Maidenhead. What's been a fantastic opening day. And here is the hooter. Will Source finishing off with a score. Can we finish off the day with a score? No, we can't. And that brings a close to the day, and a comprehensive victory then for Cambridge. Marshall, thank you very much for joining me in the commentary box. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. Pleasure's all mine.
And that wraps up then the opening day here in Maidenhead, the European Touch Club Championships 2019. And you'll be left with the groups here, just running through the screen and seeing all the standings of all the clubs and who will be playing who in the knockout games tomorrow. But we'll be back, a fresh and early start here, a 9 o'clock start here in Maidenhead for the second day of the European Touch Club Championships 2019. Well, thank you very much for joining us. If you've been watching throughout the day, or if you've just joined us for the final parts of the afternoon, thank you very much for your company. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning for the second day of the European Touch Club Championships 2019, live here on England Touch Rugby and BBC Sports Online. But until then, have a pleasant evening, and we'll see you tomorrow morning.